Welcome to the Dojotalkpodcast. Please remove them shoes before entry.
Master is here, and you still have not taken off your shoes.
Yeah. Living every day to define man's mission. Look into the sky for divine transmission. Deaf man's vision makes the blind man listen. Eyes on the prize, this is blind ambition. Thank you.
Welcome to another edition of the Dojo Talk Podcast. We're on episode number 55. We are back with our returning guest, Joey from the Sports Sound Off. What's going on, man?
Yeah, I'm alright. I'm doing okay. I feel a lot better now. Last night was an interesting night. I'm good. I'm here.
Yeah, it's been a solid weekend. I'll just throw in a quick note. I got a chance to see Thor Ragnarok. It was actually pretty good. I was pretty pleased with what I saw. So, won't spoil the movie, but 2 thumbs up, man. 2 thumbs up. And Antaku, how was your weekend?
Pretty chill. Can't complain. I didn't fall asleep last night. I'm very proud of myself.
Man, yeah, actually, I didn't get home until like 1 in the morning, I think. And I actually did. Yeah, I stayed up. I almost clocked out at one point during the prelims, but I had to make a drive, so I couldn't sleep. But this main card gave me more than enough to stay up for. I probably can't elevate my voice too much because I did a lot of screaming yesterday, a lot of arguing, a lot.
I should have gone to sleep right after the co-main.
So hopefully my voice doesn't give out on me, but I'm feeling better than I did when I woke up this morning. Quick shout outs to Stokes, who unfortunately could not be with us today, but shout outs to him. I know he'll be listening when this goes up. I guess before though we get to the the card, we'll run through just some quick notes and nuggets of other fights and other happenings that went on this weekend. Bellator 186 went down on, was that Friday night, I believe?
Yep. From the Bryce Jordan Center at Penn State University.
Yep. Headlined by Ryan Bader and Linton Vassell, a fight in which I did not watch because by the time it came on, I just kind of clocked out. But I saw the finish. Just some ground and pound. I don't know if that fight was much to write home about, but
it was Ryan Bader taking Linton Vassell down and then beating him, basically like you saw in the ending of the fight.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of figured this. Pretty much what that fight was.
It was, yeah. I don't know any other way to explain a beta. It was a beta.
Yeah, it's a beta fight.
It's a Bader fight when he's not fighting somebody who's in like the top 5, and then he's completely shuts down.
Yeah, it's a beta fight when he's not fighting anybody good.
Yeah, exactly.
It was weird. Well, it was like mad disrespectful when he was like, I don't know if y'all saw, he said that he didn't know who Vassell was. Like,
yeah, he didn't know. After that fight, Vassell doesn't know who he is.
So, take that for what it's worth. But congrats to Beta, defended his belt. Co-main event, Lima McFarland and Emily Ducote. I'm kind of mad because I really wanted to watch this fight, and like I saw it, but there was something else was going on while I was watching this card, and like I was half watching and kind of like half not watching, and then I just happened to look up and see an armbar, but I feel like I missed out on something good.
It was so Lima McFarland becomes like the first flyweight champion in Bellator history. Now I think about it, they've had 3 different divisional champions because they had strawweight, right? That tournament.
I think, because they had what's her name?
Frosto.
Yeah.
And then they got rid of her after relegation.
Didn't they also have Jessica I at one point, or am I thinking of it completely different? I think they did.
Yeah, I fought for them on like a prelim.
Right.
And she was in the UFC in like her next fight. But McFarland looked really good. Like the strike, like in the first fight with Ducati, She got knocked down, but here she spent like most of the fight just beating her up on the feet. When it was on the feet, she got Ducati got on top in the 5th round, but it just set up an armbar from what I'm reading is being called like the dead orchard position by the Test Plant Jiu-Jitsu crew. So another one for Eddie Bravo, I guess.
I guess.
But no, like it's kind of telling that like there are just so many good flyweights out there right now that are just not under the UFC umbrella right currently. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens when they all eventually do get to UFC, because that's what happens.
I think that division has the potential to be. I mean, it's weird saying it after strawweight's title change, spoiler, but I think that division has the potential to be the best division for women's mixed martial arts.
Oh, absolutely.
It's going to be interesting to see if they can cultivate it into, for both Bellator and the UFC, to see if they can cultivate kind of a star or kind of a leader in the clubhouse, so to speak, because we've seen with 135 it comes and goes quickly. So let's see what they can do to develop some people.
Did you guys see? I don't think it's official, and I think the UFC like recanted it. But like Paige Van Zandt had posted that she was getting the title shot for the tough winner, and then like an hour later, the UFC was like, "No, that's not. No, we're not doing
that." That was probably something she wasn't supposed to say.
I would assume so. I would also assume that she just fucking decided to say it and was like, well, I announced it. What are you gonna... Like, the UFC announces fights ahead of time before telling certain fighters, and then the fighter's like, well, I got to accept it. So maybe she tried to reverse the, like, hey, I'm fighting for the title. And they're like, no. We're gonna, no.
I thought that was hilarious. I guess continue down the card real quick. Phil Davis defeated Leo Letty in what was your typical Phil Davis fight. Not much to really dissect. Or
Phil Davis will 30-27 not top 10 fighters, and yet still make them look better than they are in the process.
Man,
it's an amazing talent.
Hey man, he is Mr. Wonderful.
Such a great nickname.
It's so fitting because he talks like somebody who should be in like a Mr. Universe contest.
He's very nice. I think Phil Davis is a nice guy.
He's absolutely like a cool dude, and like
it's weird. I just feel like this Bellator portion. Not that it's our fault, but it's like they put all of the most boring human beings like on their roster in the same event, and then we have to go from this ambient chill to like this UFC card that had basically everything you could ever ask for in a fight card. It's like the most ridiculous card of all time. Right. So I'm just listening to all this, and it's like perfect analysis, and it's just, and then I'm waiting for the blood to start to boil.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We got to start talking about basically from the first fight to the last fight was nothing but amazing. So it's like, the Bellator card. I have a lot. I'm excited to talk about Ed Ruth. I think he's got superstar potential.
Yeah, I was about to say let's just go on to that. Yeah, he slumped Mr. Chris Dempsey. Yeah. There was a point in this fight where, like, didn't he do, like, a handstand or something? Yeah. That was...
They've got something here.
Yeah, I was like,
something very special here.
How do you even pull that off? Like...
They've got something special with this guy.
Like, when he hits the mat, even when he was wrestling, you could just tell he was just special. Like...
Yeah.
I was there. I was at Penn State during that run, like when their run first started. Like I think they're like 6 out. They won 6 out of the last 7 national titles for wrestling. I was there when it first started, and Ruth was on the team. Like just watching him wrestle live was insane. Like it was like he was doing something like a completely different sport than what everybody else was doing. And like
Bellator's good.
No, it's just like seeing him transfer that over into MMA has just been really
special.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Bellator signed a lot of like guys who didn't make their debuts. They invested into the kind of like, I don't want to say the amateur style, the amateur program, but they invested into a lot of fighters who didn't have experience. Of all the ones, he was the one that I was really kind of keeping an eye on, and like he's got some amazing ability. I think his striking is going to pick up really quickly because he seems like the sort of guy who can pick that up pretty fast. The only concern I would have is that he fights in a division where 3 fights from now he could be fighting Phil Davis, and it's like, got to be patient with this guy because he's got so much great skill, but he fights in a weight class where there's so little depth at 185 that like I don't know. I'm just excited. I'm excited to see what he can do.
They're gonna give him Gegard Mousasi sometime in 2018.
My first thought was like Manhoof, because they'll be like, well, he's a striker. You just wrestle him. It's like I guess that's my concern. I want to see this guy develop. I want to see a slow, steady progression.
Like and Chris Dempsey put up like a solid fight when it was standing. Like
Yeah.
At no point was Ruth in trouble, but like he was giving Ruth looks, and I hope they bring in somebody like that. Like, bring in another Chris Dempsey.
Yeah.
I mean, your middleweight division needs bodies anyway.
I believe the term would be enhancement talent.
Enhancement talent, yes.
Which is nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's nothing like in MMA. It's so weird. It's like a dirty word to give somebody a tune-up or to give somebody a warm body to kind of just get their skills developed in. There's nothing wrong with it. Give this guy some easy touches that'll give him a different look every time. And let him develop.
And get people excited to like see him, because anybody who watched that, because I remember like when he first started, he was on the prelims for a while. So now he's on a main card. He definitely put up a good performance. So you don't gotta
MVP him and give him soft touches.
Right.
7 years into his career, but go slow. Be patient with this guy.
Yeah.
With MMA, we're just always spoiled with guys like Dillashaw or Garbrandt or Weidman who just come in and just storm up the rankings, and we don't notice that a lot of these other guys just need time.
Yeah. Look at Max Holloway. He came in, his first fight was Dustin Poirier. I think like 3 fights later he was fighting McGregor, or he was fighting Leonard Garcia. It's like sometimes these guys need to be a little patient with them and give them an opportunity. Robert Whittaker, his second fight in the UFC was fighting Court McGee. It's like sometimes it's okay to be slow. It's okay to understand that these are not finished products. They're moldable entities. So
we'll see. Hopefully Bellator takes good care of him, because that's a guy you want to keep around for a while.
Yeah. I mean, we just saw what happened with Heather Hardy. You never know.
Right.
But you got to be really careful, because this guy you don't have a pay-per-view star. Maybe this guy could become a pay-per-view star.
Right. And I guess rounding out that card, Sadawad, TKO, Zach Freeman.
In a minute.
Sadawad lives for these fights, man. He's got that Artem Lobov, give me your hype train shit going. He's got a pad. He took Will Brooks out. He's just...
And 2 other quick... I was going to say...
No, I just wanted to say, I keep confusing Sadawad for, Rick Glenn for some reason. I just keep assuming he's retired.
Let me take a peek. I want to make sure that I remember what Sadawad looks like correctly.
He is a bald gentleman.
What necessarily are you seeing that makes you believe that they're the same?
I don't. I think it's just because they both emerge in my consciousness at the same time. When I was watching early Bellator fights.
I was gonna say they're both Midwestern kind of regional guys, but Sadawad's from California, so that's not even accurate.
They don't look anything similar to one another. Not Rick Glenn. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Rick Horn.
All right. That I could kind of see. Shout out to Rick.
Do you think they're gonna do a WAD against Pico now?
No.
I hope not.
I hope not.
Hey.
Because Wad can throw, man.
I mean, that's the one thing he has. He can spark just about anybody. He's powerful.
Yeah. Well,
Pico's
Pico's at 145 now, though, right?
Who knows?
So he's gonna fight Patricio Pitbull.
Oh, I mean, that's a fair point. It's totally realistic.
Oh man, 2 other quick mentions on that card, I guess, before we hop over to the UFC. Logan Storley wrestled Matt Secor. Seeker. He decisioned him 30-27. It was a pretty one-sided fight. Taiwan Claxton got a nasty flying knee KO. I've never seen so much elevation. He jumped like he was trying to dunk on somebody and just happened to throw a knee. he has so much elevation when he jumped. That knee was nasty. Like, yeah, if there's any KO you need to watch from that card, you have that KO was oof.
It was also started from like 5 feet away.
Right,
Yeah, like I hate to compare it to something MMA and this, but like you ever see the action movie where the guy gets the final kill on this villain
right.
chasing, and he like leaps into the air and he crosses insane gaps just to get this guy?
Yeah,
Like,
that's what that was.
Heroic.
Yeah, that's what that was. But yeah, shout outs to him, man. That was a brutal KO. And I think that was his debut, I think.
Yeah, his pro debut.
Pro debut. So
The UFC is gonna have a hell of a bumper crop in 2024 when they buy out that fucking Bellator. You're gonna have all these great young talents. No, that's one thing I think we can give credit to Bellator for doing. They're doing a very good job of getting these guys who are not ready for they're not ready for big time MMA, for big fights, but just grabbing them early and developing them, and you turn them into something. They're lottery tickets.
all right.
Yeah,
Human
exactly.
tickets.
It's that strike force method.
Yeah, and I mean that's one thing Coker has been great at. I don't agree with a lot of the things he does in terms of building big fights, or in terms of just kind of building the brand overall. But those challengers type things, that's where the bumper crop of MMA now is coming from. So good on him.
But yeah, that's pretty much it for Bellator 186. It was a pretty solid card. Got some good knockouts. I skipped the main event, but it is what it is.
I do feel I feel like Jesus. I feel like Bellator is proof that good cards don't always equal good ratings, because they've been putting on some pretty solid events recently, like events that are exciting and you get some great finishes, and the numbers haven't been there for them, but I think the numbers not being there for them is more related to the fact that this industry will continue to revolve around the UFC until there is no UFC. So when the UFC is down, Bellator goes down with them. So I think that it's not about having a good card, it's all like time and place. So event-wise, they're doing good in terms of putting on good shows. I've enjoyed the last few that I've seen. It's just a shame that it seems like there's not a whole lot of people seeing them.
Yeah.
They got to bring back Shamrock and Gracie like
Oh,
5.
it's coming.
Get those numbers back up.
I mean, but I guess that's the punishment of relying on that method, is that when you do put on a fight like Dantas and Caldwell, it doesn't generate, because it's not that kind of freak show appeal. It's just a fight on a Friday night, so the Musasi number was weird. I don't understand why it was so low, but we'll see what this one does. There was a lot of buzz in MMA this week, and I thought it got a few more eyes than normal, so we'll see what happens.
Speaking of eyes and
Oh my god.
let's just get into it.
That's a solid segue considering Michael Bisping only has one work.
Right.
First and foremost, how fucking dare you say that? First off, can you let my dad's body warm up a little bit before you start burying him?
Oh man, last night, a card for the ages. Like, if you didn't see this one, boy, did you you missed out on some legendary just madness. Just
Everything was crazy.
Yeah, man. UFC 217, Bisping versus GSP. Yeah, we'll just start from the top. We'll just start from the top. This main event.
Oh boy.
Yeah, man. There were so many emotions and like mood swings for me watching this fight. Like, for listeners, if you don't know, like, GSP is my all-time favorite fighter, but like Michael Bisping is also like on my list of I think me and Joey are like one of 3 people in the U.S. who root for Bisping. So,
Yeah, we're the Benedict Arnold, I suppose,
like
of
this
whole operation.
This fight for me was just really weird to watch. And then like when they made first of all, it was weird that GSP came out first. Like, that was the first thing
that was like, I had those flashbacks to UFC 168 when Anderson Silva made the walk for the first time in at least my viewing career, because I got into the UFC so late that Anderson was already this dominant being. He was almost like a supreme entity for some people. And it was like seeing GSP enter first, because GSP was my Anderson Silva. Like, he was the guy who I loved. So seeing him enter first was just so, like, I was mind blown right off the bat.
Like, first he goes down first. And then I'm noticing while he's walking, I'm like, there's something missing. There's something missing. Oh, there's the Reebok. You guys don't make gis. You can't. Somebody could have gave him a gi for this fight.
Dude, they could have made GSP a gi and then sold it as like for apparel. I don't
Right.
understand.
I wonder if doesn't GSP have doesn't he have like a deal with Under Armour? Do you think maybe that was do they have Under Armour gis?
Well, like they also have the UFC fight kit though.
Yeah, you would. I'm just trying to give them the benefit of that. I'm trying to delay the fact that at some point we're gonna have to talk about what.
Point is, we needed a fight kit gi. I could have at least gave him a headband. Like, he had no gi, no headband. He came down. He came out dressed up like it was an NBA warm-up game. Like,
not to take anything away and not to jump ahead or backwards in the card, but they did make the Dillashaw snake shirt, so I got to give them. I can't be too mad.
I didn't even notice that.
You didn't notice TJ Dillashaw's snake print?
I wasn't even paying attention. But yes, as far as this fight goes, man, like literally when the bell started, I was like, who am I supposed to be rooting for again? Like I don't know. But oh man, I don't know how to even dissect like what I watch. Well, no, you know what? I'll say firstly, my first initial thought was, all right, GSP, you've been gone for 4 years. At bare minimum, even if you lose, just don't do what BJ Penn did to me. Like, don't come out and have me wondering why you came back. Like, so after like the first minute or two, I felt comfortable. I was like, okay, he looks good. Like, he looks really good. Like, he's moving. He's planting his feet when he throws punches, which was, I don't know. Like, it was so bizarre to watch. And like when he started landing shots, and I was like, oh snap! Like, what if Bisping gets knocked out? And then that's when my mind switched. I was like, who am I rooting for again? Because if he knocks him out, that would be kind of epic. But I kind of don't want to see Bisping get knocked out. So I kind of need that not to happen at the same time.
Well, GSP took care of that for you that now didn't.
Yeah. But I'll say, man, though, like from GSP, man, I really, really liked what I saw. And I'm going to look at this fight in terms of just this moment. I'm not going to jump ahead as far as, who is he going to fight next, blah, blah, blah. That'll be another conversation. But, like, for this fight, at this moment, I thought he looked really good. Like, he's out there, he's landing his Superman punch, the patent Superman punch, often, like, followed by the low kick. He landed a few times. He looked ridiculously strong with takedowns. Like, he was just kind of like muscling Bisping around with takedowns. I will give Bisping props though that like even when he was on his back, like he was throwing those elbows, and it's not a George fight if he doesn't look like he got hit with a machete in his face. So like Bisping caught him with an elbow like while on his back. Immediately GSP's face just goes like blood red. I was kind of surprised that Bisping wasn't. I thought he was going to be a bit more aggressive, but then I guess you factor in takedowns. I guess I can see why, but it's like I thought he was going to press a little more, and I felt like he was. I don't know. Like he pressed a little bit in the second round. I think he got a bit more comfortable, but even then, like GSP was still working the jab, still tagging him, Superman punches, side kicks, takedowns. Like I don't know. Maybe Bisping just caught an overload. Like he just didn't know what to defend, or I don't know. But yeah, third round happens. Beautiful duck. When that knockdown happened, how he just kind of ducked under, came up with the left hook, and yeah, when Bisping got cracked with that one, like I cheered, and then I was like, oh no, am I supposed to cheer for that? Like I know this is a moment, but but yeah, it was so weird to watch. And then Bisping, he goes out on the shield, he doesn't tap, but yeah, you knew once GSP sucked that rear naked choke in, like that was in deep. And yeah, Bisping goes to sleep, and then I guess I was kind of happy. Like I was happy for GSP though. Like you've been out for 4 years, you come back, you come up a weight class. Albeit I know people listening, and I know my friends listening, and I know y'all are gonna hate on this. And I yelled at y'all last night. We all yelled at each other, but I gotta give him his props. You can say what you want about Bisping being champ. This man took 4 years off. came back, went up a weight class. You can say what you say, that it was a quote-unquote easy fight, whatever. Fact is, he came back, he went up a weight class, he won a belt. I don't know what else you want from him. So, but yeah, this fight was wild to watch. Like, it was so many emotions. So many emotions. So I'll let one of you talk while I gather myself.
You want to know my... Yeah, well, mine's pretty quick, but you want to know what my first thought was when the fight started?
Mhm.
Holy shit, he's punching at his good eye.
Oh my god, that's a heel move first and foremost.
GSP is like the king of heel moves. Like, he's like John Cena, where like when John Cena's like facing off with another babyface, he just like teases heel moves, like arguing with the ref over 3 counts.
There we go. GSP is John Cena. We've confirmed.
Can they? I'm just waiting for the rap album.
Oh my god.
But no, so what I expected to happen was after a round or two of GSP just like not battling, but like basically a little bit how the first round goes without him rocking Bisping. Oh god. But yeah, without him rocking Bisping. So it would basically be him controlling the fight, like landing with the jab, being faster, getting the takedown. But and we saw this a little bit towards the end of the second, where like it just seemed like to be like the momentum was swinging back towards Bisping's favor. Like he was getting busted up with those elbows on the ground. Like his stand up didn't look as sharp. He was moving a lot less. Like Bisping was starting to get a little bit going, and like I really expected that would like factor in later in the round, like later in the fight, like third, fourth, fifth round. Turns out it didn't happen like that. GSP just comes out and cracks him with a hook in the third round, like just straight up out of nowhere. And I think it's pretty clear that GSP's inability to finish has just been because he's been the champion. He's just been defending his belt as opposed to chasing finishes. Like he said, he just needed that hunger.
I think that's a fair way to put it. I also think that stylistically he had some. Jake Shields is not a guy you finish. Carlos Condit, good lord, I mean, that was the fight where he was fighting to survive for the most part. Not fighting to survive like he was in trouble a whole lot, but just Condit gives you so many angles, so many different challenges, so many stylistic things he can do that there was never a moment of comfort where it's like, all right, he can open up here and really start to put ground and pound together, or he can really put it together on the feet. Like Condit's one of those guys who's always dangerous. And then Hendricks, I think, is a fight where he wasn't right for some reason.
Yeah.
So, I can understand what you're saying there.
But
so is it my turn to go now?
Yeah.
You got more. All right. Well, so much of this fight was an anomaly in so many different ways. So much of this fight was not like GSP. It's been said GSP tore his ACL. He wasn't coming into this. He tore his ACL is the reason why he took an even longer layoff. I think he would have been back sooner had he not. Tore his ACL, has been gone. He's going up in weight. It's not white and black. It can be any shade of color you want to throw in there. It's totally acceptable to say that Bisping was the easiest fight GSP will ever have at 185. Totally fair, reasonable. It's also reasonable to say that GSP did something monumental. It's fair to say that he did something amazing. It's fair to be honest about what we saw last night, which was one of the greatest single-handed stories ever in MMA, one of the greatest comebacks ever in MMA. As a Bisping supporter, as a Bisping fan, and I'm honest that like I'm one of the rare guys who really does enjoy Michael Bisping. It was a little tough. It was not tough to see him lose because I've seen him lose 25 times. It was tough to see him lose a fight where he shouldn't have lost in theory. Like you're fighting a guy who's coming back from this insane layoff. You're bigger than him stylistically. You can, you have a style that can survive. Doesn't matter. None of that matters. What we saw last night was just something you have to cherish and appreciate because it's so rare. Rashad Evans comes back. Rashad Evans gets hurt, takes time off, comes back. He's not the same. We're watching Anderson Silva slowly degrade with each performance, in my opinion. We're watching BJ Penn get crushed every time he comes out. Uriah Faber we saw Uriah Faber have this amazingly, I don't want to say quick decline, but a decline where it was noticeable and got progressively more noticeable as his division got deeper. We've watched guys come back or just, get old and have to live through that my favorite fighter got old feeling.
Right.
It doesn't matter if Bisping was if Bisping was the weakest champion GSP will ever fight in his life. It doesn't matter about that. It only matters that he pulled off something that no fighters of his kind ever do. And to me, that's why he's the greatest fighter of all time. Now, we can have that discussion whenever, that's a future discussion, but what he did was almost insurmountable. And I think that it's okay to say Bisping's a weak champion while at the same time acknowledging that what we saw was very special.
And I would even go as far as to say, like, he almost looked better in this fight than he has in, like, his last maybe, like, 2 to 3. Like,
I would concur with that.
Yeah, this might be the most, like, confident I've seen. Like, literally, like, I mentioned this earlier. When GSP is planting his feet and throwing to, like, kill, I haven't seen that GSP in a long time. Like, we're normally just seeing stick the jab, a few kicks here and there, take you down, wear you out because you can't do anything because I'm just way stronger than you. Like, this dude was like, he was going for it. And I think you had mentioned it earlier, like, whatever that hunger it was that I guess maybe he lost over time or whatever it may be, I saw that hunger in this fight. Like, he was going for the kill. And yeah, man, you have to give credit to that. Like, you cannot like the matchup. You can feel how you want to feel about Bisping, but fact remains, like you said, not a lot of people can ever say like they did something like this. Like, I left the sport for 4 years, and I just came back and won a belt. Like,
Yeah.
Nobody else does that.
After tearing my ACL again.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the third ACL tear. It's like, this guy is unreal, and we're never gonna have a moment like this again. And I'm sure that the other generation would say, well, Randy Couture, Tim Sylvia, but this wasn't even comparable in my opinion. Like, that's the heavyweight division where shit happens that should never happen.
Like, heavyweight's not real MMA.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair to put it. If middleweight is the tough dads and heavyweight is the tough grandpas, like, it's a different universe. You can be, and it's like, look, this run is not going to last. I think it's fair to say this is not going to last. GSP is going to have to fight a Robert Whittaker. He's going to have to fight a Yoel Romero at some point. He's going to have to fight a Luke Rockhold, and this is just not going to last. But it doesn't matter. Like, let's enjoy what we have right now before we start, planning his funeral, so to speak. Like, let's just let this happen. This is a feel-good story. Let's have a feel-good story for a second.
And that was my argument that I was having in my screaming match yesterday. Just let him live for a little bit. Like, everybody's already jumping to, like, oh, he's not going to fight XY, he's going to duck so-and-so. I'm like, can we just let him, like, can we let this moment just settle and pass, and then we'll get...
And that's... Right, and that's not GSP. Like, he's always fought, like, he's the one guy I think you can say has always fought the guy he's supposed to fight.
Right.
Even Johnny Hendricks, who he turned down Johnny Hendricks to fight Nick Diaz. He eventually did fight Johnny Hendricks, so I don't think that that's fair for him. Like, I don't think you need to hold GSP to the Conor principle, I guess.
Right.
Like, and speaking of which, that's probably why he was looking so haggard towards the end of his run, like when at welterweight. Like, he besides Jones probably has had the toughest schedule of any fighter.
Yeah.
Maybe Jones and Hendo, I don't know. Like, but like in terms of just like that period of where he was champion, he fought the number one guy every time.
Right.
He fought the number one guy every time out.
He came back from an ACL tear and fought Carlos Condit. So, like, that's the kind of guy he is. Like, he's not a guy who's gonna say, I won't fight him, I'll fight him, or I won't fight him, I'll fight. Like, he's always been that guy. So I don't believe in that.
Yes.
So I guess aftermath of this fight. So I guess as of at least what I saw this morning, per Dana White, but with Dana, you take everything with a grain of salt.
It's a suggestion.
You're right. At this point, right.
He's suggesting this might be the case.
Right. It's the note in the suggestion box that somebody put in. We don't know if it'll happen, but GSP Whittaker seems like the next logical fight, and per Dana, he said.
I was going to say, he also said he wants to bring GSP to Montreal because that makes all the sense in the world. And they just announced the card in Perth.
I know, that was my first thought. Like, I would... if you're gonna build a star, you have to do it in Perth, I think.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you're gonna build a star if Whitaker does what I think we would expect him to do, and that's gonna be one silent building. It's gonna be one quiet ass place. But you know what? Even so, like, I'm done doubting GSP. Like, he could win. I think he could take Whitaker down. I don't think he could. If Yoel Romero couldn't do it for 5 rounds, I don't think. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see GSP doing it. Specifically, Whitaker's ACL is not going to tear. You know what I mean? Or he's not going to hurt his knee so early in the fight. So, and that's amazing. Like, Whitaker fought off Yoel Romero takedowns with one leg. Like, this guy is unreal. So I would do it in Perth, but I'm also not a businessman.
Yeah, if I'm a betting man in that fight, I love GSP to death. Always will be the all-time favorite, but yeah, Whitaker is an animal. But yeah, like you said, it's not out of the realm of possibility that somehow GSP could eke out a win.
It's also not out of the realm of possibility that Anderson Silva somehow gets a decision over Kelvin Gastelum.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. You know what, though? Like, honestly, maybe I have a different opinion. Like, maybe I'm a little different because I guess that there was a certain magic with this fight that kind of, like, going into it, we were all very cynical, but then there was a magic to it. If you want to do Anderson GSP, as long as you keep Whitaker active as the interim champion, or you know what, just make Whitaker the full-time champion and do GSP Silva 5 rounds, no title. Like, I think you can do that.
I mean, yeah.
I don't think anybody would look at GSP negatively if he rescinded his championship because he's really not a middleweight. It's like when Cody.
Oh no, I guarantee you people will.
Oh, come on.
I've heard the duck word so many times already.
I just think he's earned that right. Like, he's been the loyal soldier. He's not going to be around forever. Like, you know, if he abdicated to Whitaker, I don't think people would be too offended. Unless you really just want to see GSP get punched in the face 5 rounds.
I think there are a lot of people who want to see GSP get punched in the face for 5 rounds.
Perhaps. We don't care what McGregor fans have to say.
I want to see the Whitaker fight just to see, like, if he can do it. Because I feel like if you lose to Whitaker, like, there's no shame in. Like, Whitaker's on a run right now that, you know, like, his run is just insane that he's been on. So, like, if you lose to him, you know, that doesn't diminish your legacy or anything. But, like, if you pull that off and you win and you beat Whitaker, like, that just, at that point, you can't hate on GSP anymore. Like, you would have to just shut up for the rest of your life.
Right.
So
but for me, it's like, I saw him get hit with one too many Bisping lefts, and if Whitaker hits him, people pretend like Whitaker doesn't hit hard. He hits really, like, he cracks.
Yeah, he definitely cracks.
And he's got kicks that people don't give him a whole lot of credit for either. And it's like, I wouldn't want to play around with that. Like, I don't want to see the magic, you know. I believe one of the comparisons was, you know, you might want to see Babe Ruth taking a bat. You don't want to see Babe Ruth play a whole game. If you can bring him back, you bring him back for an at bat. You didn't bring him back for the whole year.
I'll root for the Whitaker fight just because. Also, I think Whitaker has earned the right at this point. Like, and I think overall,
right.
The interim thing is getting on my nerves. Like, overall, I've never liked that in the UFC. Like, I get it when people are injured. Like, that's, you know, then it makes sense. But like, nowadays, I feel like we're just throwing interim out just because. So I'd say give Whitaker his title shot, and Bisping. I guess at this point, man, this Romero fight, bro.
You can't escape it.
Yeah,
you can't escape it. When Bisping said I'm not retiring, I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah.
You probably should.
Like, Romero's the one guy that if anybody ducked, I wouldn't give them any heat for it because I would duck Romero too. But yeah, at this point, man, you gotta fight him. Like, there's no.
It's not that Romero's some unstoppable Goliath, but Bisping's style, his age.
Yeah.
It's literally gonna look like somebody beating up like a dad. Like,
right. Like, yeah, everything about that fight just screams Michael Bisping, you need to hide. Like, there are very few ways you can win that fight, but
sometimes it's okay to just, you know.
If I'm Bisping, I'm angling for a fight in Manchester. I'd say do the third Luke Rockhold fight.
I would say give me anybody who's not named Yoel Romero. That would be my only request. Romero gets Bisping down, and it's not like he may put him through the mat. Like he may punch him through.
Yeah. I wouldn't be mad at though. Either of those two would. Yeah, I feel like if you don't fight Romero, a third Rockhold, because I think also a lot of people still believe that his win over Rockhold was a fluke, which I don't understand at all. But I think either of those two fights would make sense.
So here's kind of a thing. Like the 2018 schedule came out, and there's an event in Charlotte, and then event in Charlotte in January, and there's an event in March. Realistically, you have to assume that January is going to be Derek Brunson because Brunson's from North Carolina, and March is going to be Bisping. So I'm wondering if they're just going to offer Bisping and Brunson to a bunch of middleweights and just say whoever wants it, like, you know what I mean? Because Brunson apparently has a fight in the works, and he's probably going to be the main event. And then there's Bisping, and you'd assume that whoever doesn't win the Brunson sweepstakes, so to speak, is probably going to wind up fighting Bisping in London. So I have a name to potentially throw out for Bisping, by the way, if y'all don't mind.
Go ahead.
Tim Boetsch.
Oh. I mean, it's possible.
Coming off a win, beat Johnny Hendricks, kind of the guy who Bisping stylistically hasn't always struggled with. Boetsch is the master of the win when you're not supposed to. I think that would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, but that fight would hurt my heart though if Boetsch just somehow cracks.
Because you assume that London. Are you kidding me? The king of the tough dads, like Tim Boetsch is the epitome of the tough dad. He should have the belt in this division. He's Mr. Tough Dad.
I don't want to see Boetsch grab Bisping's head.
Oh no!
Because we all know what happens if Boetsch gets a hold of your head and those fists, those uppercuts start flying, you're done. Like it's over.
I knocked that out.
I wouldn't be mad at that fight. I think it's not a safe fight at all, but I hesitate to throw out the word safe, but it's a very winnable fight.
Every fight is unsafe.
Yeah.
Okay,
it literally is.
You have to assume that March 17th is going to be a Fight Pass card too, because it's in London and they tend to do Fight Pass there. So I don't know.
Yeah, I just think at this point with Bisping, like so many people were clawing at him while he had the belt that he didn't fight. That I don't know. I don't know if he can get. I don't know if he can drop down and fight a Boetsch when there are guys in like the top three. They want his neck still.
AC, who do you think Brunson would get in Charlotte?
Brunson?
I want to see Brunson and Rockhold.
I do too. I would like to see that.
See, I like that fight. For Bisping, I just thought of this. What if they do the Anderson Silva rematch?
I mean,
there's something there.
Is November to March too quick a turnaround for Anderson? Because I'm under the impression that Gastelum is gonna. He's gonna put the boo-boo on Anderson.
It might be too quick a turnaround, but at the same time, we've also seen the UFC throw Mark Hunt and JDS out there. And
I know the one, not to cut you off, but the one guy we can cut out of the equation is Weidman. I believe he's hurt again.
Oh,
he's perpetually hurt.
Because apparently Brunson was offered Weidman, and Weidman said, "I'd like to take it, but I can't even train right now." So. Who knows?
Lord.
Weidman's made of glass.
Oh my god. Well, that's what happens when your brother's beating the shit out of you when you're like 7 years old to toughen you up. You wind up with some fucking knocks and bruises. Or whatever that family relationship is.
Like his brother is straight up psychotic.
I don't know. I like Chris Weidman, but like I think you got to kind of wrap him out of any conversation. Jacare's out there too. Could do Jacare with one of these guys.
Yeah, true.
But Jacare, they've got Brazil February 3rd. You'd assume he would be popping in there.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll say for Bisping, whatever happens next, these fights probably aren't getting any easier.
No,
I actually probably could say that for GSP too. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. No matter where you go, these fights aren't getting any easier. But yeah, man, that main event was something. That was a moment in history. I'm glad I saw this like in real time, and I was around other people, and I got to scream and yell, and
I think
I'm
we
just
forgot to mention this is the third of like 3 title changes.
Yeah,
Right.
I've been sitting here with my TJ Dillashaw take for like 10 minutes now, but I don't want to stop talking about this fight and this like it was like a where were you when kind of moment. You know what I mean?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, we'll see what unfolds, how these future matchups roll out and such. But yeah, let's get to this co-main. Because this when this fight happened, like I was literally, this was the one fight on the card where like I was sitting at the edge of my seat literally. Like I had to sit up in the seat and put my head all the way forward, and like I was on edge at like every punch. Like anytime somebody moved or threw something, I was like, oh, he's gonna get knocked out, and it was TJ Dillashaw, Cody Garbrandt, bantamweight title match. Oh man.
You see, it sucked that Stokes isn't here.
Why?
Right.
Is he a
Well, I'm not gonna say he's a Garbrandt fan so much as
Oh.
he's a fuck TJ guy.
Well, you know what? You know what? This is what happens when you're unprofessional and you don't show up. You wind up not being able to. Actually, he probably made a good decision. I give him credit. Love you, Stokes. We miss you. I miss you. This is gonna be
Miss
this
you,
is-
Stokes.
We do. I
Yeah,
do.
Stokes.
I was excited to.
Yeah. Stokes. Yeah, we gotta.
Hopefully
we can get you
start
on
off
a-
the Dillashaw conversation real quickly.
Actually, yeah. You can go ahead. Since
Not gonna talk about all the fight. It was a very off the bat. I could tell Cody Garbrandt was off. I think he got kind of sucked into some kind of mind game or whatever the case may be. He came out winging. He was really tight. He was not as loose as he was against Cruz. Dillashaw looks like Dillashaw, and I think that's the key. He's always consistent. He never changes what he's doing. He's always going to be that guy. He looked amazing outside of a few moments where he was tagged. I think beyond just that counter shot that dropped him in the first round. There were a few other moments where he got hit pretty cleanly. Second round, it looked like Garbrandt was opening up, and then I kept waiting for it. Dillashaw is known for his head kick is amazing, and he didn't set it up the way he normally does, but he delivered on it. Garbrandt got caught because his hands are always down, especially when he's coming forward. Got caught with it, dropped, and I think from then it was just a matter of who was going to get who first. That was the knockdown for knockdown. It never felt like Garbrandt got back into it. He seemed hesitant and tentative after getting hurt, and probably the first time he's been hurt in a long time. And Dillashaw, they threw, it was almost like the Hardy Condit thing, except Dillashaw was a second later than Garbrandt on the counter, and that was it. He went down and he never recovered. And then after the fight, the part that I really want to talk about was I felt like TJ Dillashaw really grew up in a weird way. Like that was, we talk about respect and obviously but he lost his fucking mind after that fight. And I think that's sometimes you need to see passion like that in a fighter to get fans into him. Like watching him screaming and just losing his mind was just, he's gone through a lot of shit in this rivalry, and he's been the guy who's kind of been always buried by the other half. So when he kind of just blew up, I kind of felt for him, you know what I mean? Like that was his moment finally. I think he grew up a little bit.
Yeah.
This fight, man.
On any other
Jesus.
card in any other year, this would have been a fight of the year candidate, I think, because that was an amazing 2 rounds we got.
Oh,
For a lot of people, this was like, and I don't blame them for like a lot of people saying this was the real main event, which I wouldn't argue against. Like I was really, really hyped and interested to see how this fight was going to turn out. And yeah, I was just waiting to see who was going to be the first to land that first like big shot. And yeah, Cody drops him in the first. I was a little worried because when TJ got back up, like I felt like he tried to act like he was okay, but you could tell when he walked back to the
He was
corner, like his
wobbling,
leg, his leg was still kind of like, I was like, oh man, I hope you're not too.
he was angry too. Like he punched himself. Like, did you see him punch himself in the hand?
This was this was a really weird fight where there was some title fights are just title fights, like it's guy A versus guy B, and they're both very skilled, and there was this great fight and whatever. This felt like more than a fight. Like it felt really like we have so much fake MMA like bullshit heat. This felt fucking real from start to finish, and you could tell.
Yeah. But I liked it though, like it was real, but at the same time, like you said with TJ, he's always like he's just TJ. He's super calm. He
Yeah.
doesn't allow himself too much to get rattled. And to me, like, I think those were the only times where the fight wasn't swinging in his favor. Like, I think he did have a few reckless moments. Like, I feel like after he got tagged in the first, in the second, he was looking for that comeback hit. Like, he was like, you got me, I have to get you back.
Right, and I
like,
think that may be the difference between guys like Dillashaw and guys like Bisping. Bisping goes into survival mode, and it felt like for Dillashaw, he was like he had to get that moment back, and I think that was really cool.
Yeah, he was gunning for it. You could tell, like, that head kick setup was like, I think he like pawed his left hand out, and then just the head kick just followed.
Oh yeah, like, oh my god, the paw with the jab.
Yeah.
He slides his right leg underneath him for the switch kick. And it's so seamless that I didn't realize it until they did the replay from like the wide angle.
Right.
He literally just drags, like, it just sneaks underneath him for the kick.
AC will tell you that Dillashaw's head kicks are always so perfect. Like, they are, whenever he puts a gif up of a head kick from TJ Dillashaw, or that combination, it's just like, that may be the best combination in MMA.
Yeah. And he said, I want to say he set it up with, like, the takedown attempt, because, like, this comes after, like, it wasn't a real attempt. Like, he dives in on, like, Cody's hips.
Yeah, he gave him something to think. Just gave him something to think about.
Then he dips down. Right? Yeah. Then he dips down again with the with a feint for I want to say a single leg. Well, he basically just crouches and like reaches for his leg, and it gets a reaction out of Garbrandt. And then like I think what Garbrandt expected was like a body kick or something, because like the way like he throws his entire body back, it kind of reminded me of the DC Jones head kick a little bit, because he like brings his whole head to like the right side of his body and just lines up perfectly.
Leans into it.
Yeah, like I'm really surprised they didn't put him out.
Yeah, I feel like this fight came down to, and it was kind of what I thought. Well, originally I did pick Cody to win this, but the one thing about TJ that I kept in the back of my head is like, I think TJ, he just has more in the arsenal. So, like, I mean, Cody has really great flash-like hand speed. Like, it's scary how fast he throws punches. But, like, TJ just makes you worry about so much more. Like, you got this weird movement going on, angles that you just don't normally see. He's seamless from strikes to takedowns. Like, it's so much more in his arsenal, I think. And I think that was just kind of Cody's downfall. Is like, with TJ, it's just, all right, if I can survive the hands, I'll be okay. But on Cody's end, like, you got to watch out for everything. And, yeah, that last finishing sequence when they both throw, but... Ugh, yeah. Yeah, he
you know what
cracked
though?
Him, man.
Yeah, it's amazing. This is a division where you're like, the gap between when Renan Barão was this dominant force fighting guys like Eddie Wineland, no disrespect to Eddie Wineland, but fighting guys like that to what we have now, this division has really grown up so much in terms of skill. And if you don't like the 135-pound division, I don't know what you're looking for. Like,
right.
This is. When they announced, well, they didn't announce it. I'm sure we're going to talk about it. But when they hinted at Mighty Mouse Dillashaw, I was upset because there's so much good stuff going on at 135. I don't want to see it held up. Like, I want to see. We've got Cruz Rivera, we've got Lineker's back in there. We have this whole crop of really great young 135ers making their way up. I was just like, really? Must we? But
speaking of Lineker, like, just. Because I was thinking about like matchups for Cody after the fight. I think that's a really bad matchup for Cody.
Garbrandt needs to rediscover his wrestling. He can wrestle. I don't know why he's abandoned that.
Well, when your hand speed is that fast,
I know, but it's a bit like when Chuck Liddell. Like, there was the comparison made between Liddell and Garbrandt, and I think that's a really fair one. But at some point, you got to do a little bit more. Like, I want to see more from Cody, and I felt like. When you have an aggressive, you always learn about a fighter when you see how they have to operate in reverse of their natural ability. When you have a counter striker, you learn a lot about him when he has to go on the attack. When you have a guy like Garbrandt who's aggressive, you learn a lot about them when they have to start counter striking. And I felt like once Dillashaw started, I want to say towards the end of the first round, when Dillashaw was being the aggressor and landing first, and Cody wasn't getting off, it was like okay, we're starting to learn a little bit more about what Garbrandt can't do. And you're right. He's got to find something to supplement his power because we're getting to the point where the Thomas Almeidas of the world who have that, like, you hit really hard isn't good enough for 135 anymore. You got to have something else to bring with it.
Right.
Absolutely. That finishing sequence, like I think that's like we saw like a lot of like Cody's problems that were hidden from the Cruz fight,
Right.
where they're literally just standing in the pocket, and the big difference I saw was the footwork,
The head movement.
the head movement and the footwork.
That was me. I was like, ooh.
The hook that TJ lands when he's coming in. I mean, at the end of the sequence. So he I'm sorry, one moment.
Nah, we're good. You want me to take this over?
Yeah, you can go.
I'm not gonna. I can't. I don't know where he was gonna go with that. I can't finish the point.
No, sorry.
He didn't leave me off on a part where I could make up something.
No, sorry, I'm back.
Nah, we're good. We're good. No big deal.
So what Garbrandt does is not Garbrandt. What Dillashaw does is he shifts into the hook. Like he actually shifted into like both his punches, like because he throws it straight. I want to say his right leg follows, and then he steps out with the left for the hook that comes afterwards from the right hand side, and it just drops. It completely wrecks Garbrandt's world, while Garbrandt literally is just standing straight up. Like he lands that big hook that Dillashaw just eats, but like at that point, both his feet are underneath him. He's kind of squared up, and he has no base to eat the punch.
It's a really weird fight to compare. We got to go all the way back, but there were little things that Garbrandt was doing that he was doing against Henry Briones.
Yeah.
Little things where if you can't knock him out, he gets flustered almost. And it felt like there were parts where he's like, all right, well, I just hit you clean. You're not going anywhere. And it was very interesting to watch his. First off, not first off, but to go back, Garbrandt's going to be back. He's going to be in the title picture again. He's way too talented. But there are parts of his game that maybe he learned something he needs to fix. And I think that that's good. It's good to. It sucks for him that it happened against a rival, but it's always good to learn about things you can do differently. So I'm still very, very high up on Garbrandt, but this was Dillashaw's night. He exercised some demons.
Like I 100% expect Garbrandt to hold the title again at some point.
Yeah.
But like you said, we learned a lot about what he can't do as a striker.
Yeah. And none of those flaws are fatal flaws, I don't think. Like, because I've seen him move his head.
Yeah,
like,
they're all fixable.
Yeah, so it's not like this guy's not going to be going away for a while. Like he's got some. Maybe you give him a step back. I would do a rematch personally because I think that rivalry is still really hot. But I understand wanting to do. I guess it would be a super fight.
Yeah.
A little super.
I think I think it's fair to say that's a super fight if they do. But I don't want to see Dillashaw go down. I would rather see DJ come up.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, if Mighty Mouse comes up to 135, I think he'd have to stay there, wouldn't he? I couldn't see him coming up and then going back down.
Only if he won.
Right. If he loses, he can go back down. But if he wins, like, you can't have him beat Dillashaw, and then go back down.
Yeah, then
nobody's gonna care about. No offense, I love flyweight, but if the 125 champion beats the 135 champion, nobody's gonna immediately start caring about 125. It's just gonna be about Mighty Mouse.
Yeah.
How many pay-per-views do you think that would sell? Mighty Mouse and Dillashaw.
A better question is how many does it add to the as a co-main event?
Right. Which is sad because that would be such an awesome fight.
I mean, if that doesn't get fight fans excited, that kind of a fight, then I don't know what you guys want anymore. Like,
yeah.
This is the only argument I can make was that I'd like to see Dillashaw defend his title once, just to have hey, he didn't just win it and then get vaulted up. Right. Like even RDA had to defend against, although technically Conor won his belt and then fucked off, but like he won his belt at 145 and then immediately went into a 155 fight. But even so, he was the interim champion, I guess, so it was a little different. But I'd just like to see one fight for him.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at if they run a Cody rematch back or
Cruz.
I forgot who's does Rivera have a fight?
Rivera Cruz.
Yeah. UFC 219.
I'm not going to be on if Rivera has to fight for the title because I know one guy who's going to be really not even going to be seeing it. He's not even gonna see TJ in the cage. It's gonna be a one-man show.
Yes. I mean, what do you expect? Like, how do you think I'm gonna react when like he's fighting Cruz?
I don't know. I think we made it to not talk that week.
I'm not even gonna see anything that Cruz does in there.
To be fair, I'm the same way with Kelvin Gastelum. Like, it's not even gonna be. He's not. Kelvin Gastelum has a one fight. He just fights himself, literally too. Sometimes 'cause he's fucking up all the time.
But I'd love to see the winner of Cruz Rivera get Dillashaw next. Like, because if Rivera, not Rivera, if Cruz wins, there's something there too, you know.
Yeah.
It's not just maybe it's not the same heat that Cody has, but it's a rematch.
It's still something.
Yeah, it's a rematch from a competitive fight that had a lot of people watch it, at least more than average. So.
No, I think it did a big number. Like, I think that show did a big number. So you're right.
Oh yeah, it was one of those playoff cards.
Yeah, like, and I mean, if you had to be a little bit positive as for a super fight, guys like Matthew Lopez, Marlon Moraes, we saw Ricardo Ramos this weekend. Like, those 135ers who are really starting to develop themselves and kind of make this division really hot, they can maybe get a few more fights to establish a pecking order, and then there are names that you can fight. So it's not just like, well, who's he fighting, this guy? It's like you create kind of like you can create a little depth and a little interest. So maybe that's not a bad idea if you put him on ice with a super fight.
I mean, and I just saying this, if somehow Mighty Mouse moved up and actually did beat Dillashaw, you could run back the Cruz fight.
That would be really cool. Brad Pickett retired, but he can come back out too if he needs to. Get that Mighty Mouse Pickett burn again.
Yeah, Mighty Mouse just kicks Dominic Cruz for 5 rounds of his plantar fasciitis or whatever it's pronounced.
God, he just kicks the muscular atrophy.
Yeah.
No, 135 is a great division. I just don't understand. Like when I hear people talk about flyweight, I kind of understand, but when you talk about 135, it's like the best talents there, and there are fight finishers. Guys hit hard in this division. So.
Yeah, that fight though, this fight was awesome. It was amazing. Yeah, no matter who TJ fight next, like, it's gonna be a great fight. Like, he has so many good options. Like,
this might be a lot of fun. Would you do Garbrandt against the winner of Dodson Moraes?
Ooh.
I feel like that has action.
Cody and Dodson. Well, you know what? I think.
Oh my God, Cody and Dodson. I wouldn't want to hear Cody talk about Dodson.
For some reason, I feel like that fight on paper is really exciting.
Yeah.
But I feel like the way it might play out, like, I think Cody and Moraes would be more fun to watch for some reason. Like, I feel like there would be something would be going on. I think Dodson and Cody might be a lot of, well, I don't want him to touch me with it, you know. I don't.
Yeah, there would be a lot of circling.
Yeah.
I can see them giving him a Matt Lopez too if he beats Rafael Assunção.
If Matt Lopez beats Rafael Assunção, he definitely deserves. Because Matt Lopez is one of those guys who, like, they signed him off of those looking for a fight, because we're going to wind up talking about looking for a fight on this card, but they signed him off looking for a fight. They gave him a big name out the gate he probably didn't need. Like, Hani Yahya is a massive fight for a debut guy. And since then, he's been nothing but impressive. So if he beats Assunção, he deserves somebody on that top 5 list. You know, and Lineker, I don't know what you can do with Lineker.
He'll punch his way into a fight.
He did not look as sparkling as to steal a fight night's phrase. He didn't look too great against Vera, but I think that's because people are starting to realize that Vera's
really good.
A fucking good fight. A fucking good fighter because people don't like to admit it, but those tough Latin America guys, now that they're getting some serious training and some serious tutelage, they're good fighters. So, you know.
We'll see, man. But 135, top to bottom, man, they're killers in every direction.
Yep.
So, nothing but good fights can come from that division. This next fight, this was the one fight on this card I was legit like, oh, like, that happened. I was shocked. I'm not gonna lie. I was legit shocked at this fight. Rose Namajunas, she was the one who kicked off this card with stealing belts. Rose Namajunas, Joanna Jędrzejczyk.
That's a great way to put it because she stole on Joanna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Can I get first crack at this one?
Yeah, good.
So, I was going back over in my head about like who's Joanna's beaten up until this point, but and just how Rose matches up with her, and there was just like a few things before the fight that I didn't take into account. One was Rose is like the most mobile fighter that Joanna's ever fought.
That's
in
that's
MMA.
something that I was like, yeah.
Like, and she like you said, she has like way underappreciated power, and she's probably like the straight up fastest person at 115. Maybe like Torres, but like in terms of just straight up like speed and being able to get in and out, you double that up with her.
She's the best athlete at 115.
Yeah,
I
by
think
like a mile.
That was the only thing that I looked at. I was like, well, she's fast. She's a pretty good athlete. Maybe a scramble, but not what we got.
No. Add that in with the fact that she's long as shit. Like, is she longer than like Joanna?
Like she has to be.
She was last night. I don't know.
I was rewatching this fight this morning, and I didn't realize it the first time. She covers distance, like
yeah.
she was leaping in with that left, but like she covers distance really, really well. Like she was tagging Joanna with that leap left, like every time she threw it.
Well, like she covers distance, but she's still, because she's so long and she's so powerful, like it's not really like jumping all the way to the inside like somebody like John Lineker does. It's like jumping to like just where she can land her punches.
Right.
And like Joanna had no answer for that. Like she never even was allowed to like feel her. She was basically not even allowed to feel her out because like anytime she would try to engage, Rose would just like move out of the way. She just back out the exchange. Like she refused to exchange with Joanna on her terms. And it was just like straight up masterful.
Yeah, Trevor Whitman's very underrated.
He is.
I think we learned that last night.
He cracked the code. Like he installed the Matrix he installed the Matrix program. And man, like it was, yeah, man. Like I never thought I would see the day that, not that I never thought I'd see Joanna lose, but like I didn't think I would ever see her just get cracked. Like, and she had small moments. I think she threw like a few flurries, but like other than that, man, she was getting tagged. Like I never thought I would see her just kind of get handled like that.
Yeah. And then go ahead.
Yeah, and then like when I rewatched it, it looked even more dominant. Like it, like Rose was never worried at all during this entire fight. Like like that stone face that she had at the weigh-ins is like what she had at the fight. Like there was no worry, there was no, I don't know, man. She was on some silent assassin, like, I know I'm going to kill you. I just need to wait for my perfect moment. And my God, when she cracked her with the left, I think that was a screaming moment. Part of the reason why I lost my voice, because I didn't think that was gonna happen. And well, I guess because we talked about it before the recording, the whole she gets cracked with the left, eats some ground and pound, taps the strikes. I mean, I'm not mad at anybody who taps the strikes.
Yeah.
After, especially the way she got floored, man, like there was no coming back from that. Like you kind of know you're done, and you could tell like when Joanna got back up, she was trying to walk around and act like she didn't want help, but like if there was no cage, she probably just would have fell over. Like she was in La La Land. She was gone.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, amazing performance from Thug Rose. Like that. Yeah. That was something to watch.
That was we've basically been waiting for her to become this fighter ever since Invicta.
Invicta, yeah. And it's like watching that fight, the one first going into the fight, the only thing I thought was like I had two thoughts as to how Rose could win. The first is that, and I've been banging this drum for like 30 years. Joanna's been in really tough fights. She has a really long combat sports career. She did damage I don't want to say she's doing damage to her body, but she may be. Cutting to 115 is not easy for her. So there's a lot of factors all added in. She got dropped against Claudia Gadelha. She got wobbled and like backpedaled by Karolina Kowalkiewicz and she doesn't have great power. And against Andrade, she didn't get hit much, but the ones that did land left an imprint, which isn't a surprise because Andrade hits hard.
She even got dragged in a little bit by Letourneau.
Yeah, there were moments against Letourneau where she was also hurt. So it's like she's not a fighter who that chin has been a little shaky recently, and she has amazing recuperative abilities, and she's so offensive. So that kind of was like, if she can get that, if she gets hit, it's always possible, that kind of thing. And the other thing was that, as previously stated, Rose is the best athlete in this division, and she's never fought somebody who can move like that, who can attack from awkward angles, who puts things together from weird, funky positions, and just has this whole package of things she can throw at you. I didn't think she would win. I'd be lying if I said I thought she would win, but those were the two things that, like, maybe if you give her a shot. I did not expect her to shut her down defensively. And those Joanna flurries where she's throwing a million things at once, those only work if you're going backwards or if you're stuck. Rose never got stuck. She never got planted against the cage. She never got stuck where Joanna can just tee off. It was constant movement, constant angles. And by the time Joanna she was out of the fight basically like a minute in. She had already gotten dropped. And then it was just like, okay, well, let's see what happens from there. Anybody can get dropped, but I mean, perfect plan, perfect team, perfect coach, perfect fighter.
Yeah, and I'll throw it out there. I didn't think Rose was gonna win either, and I'll even go as far as to say, like, I wasn't as big on Rose as everybody else was. Like, I kind of looked at her the way I used to look at Kevin Lee, where like everybody else was so hype about them, and I was like, I don't see it. Like, maybe I'm just missing something. Clearly, I was. Clearly, I gotta go back and watch the tape.
I don't think you're wrong. I don't think anybody was wrong to feel that way. She kind of lurked under the radar. Angela Hill is probably, I want to say Angela Hill is her best win going into this fight. And no disrespect to Angela Hill, she's a great fighter, but not like, you wouldn't be like, oh, she beat Angela Hill and she beat Michelle Waterson. She's definitely going to beat Joanna or even be competitive. So it's like, oof. I don't know. I thought Andrade was going to beat Joanna, to be honest, but like,
I did too. And
same here. So
yeah, we both did. And after Joanna wrecked Andrade, I was like, ooh, Joanna might not ever lose. Like,
and then she loses immediately. So like,
right,
it works out.
And poor Claudia. I mean, you have this rival who beat you. You fought her twice in close competitive fights. You lost both times. She loses, so now you have a chance to get back on the title, but you just got stomped by Andrade. So now it's like, you're in the back of the line, beyond the back of the line. You're out of the store.
Right.
You're like standing outside waiting to get.
Yeah.
You haven't parked your car
Yeah,
yet.
you haven't even left the house.
Right. Like, and Rose is all up and down the cereal aisle, just looting and.
She got into the bakery right when the cookies were coming out. She's got the hot.
Right. My God. Yeah.
And Rose is just to kind of end my final whatever on it, but Rose is going to be a bit like GSP. I don't know how long this reign is going to last, but let's have some fun with it. Let's enjoy it. It's different.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a good feel good story.
She's a great role model for people like her. So I approve. Like not that she needed my approval, but like I approve of this kind of a champion. It's nice to have a few champions who are different, who are like role models for certain people.
Yes. So like moving forward, they really have like all the options in the world for her, don't they?
If you think about it, yeah.
Like Esparza all of a sudden is a contender again.
Andrade is still there. Tisha Torres, you can do that fight again.
Yeah, because like it's 1-1, and Torres arguably should be 2-0.
Yeah, that second fight was close. I thought Rose won it, but it was still close enough. I mean, I think that those two are popular.
Do you think, because Joanna has had a long reign, do you think she's earned the instant rematch, or was this fight too one-sided?
I think she has, but at the same time, if I'm her team, like, you got to sit down after a fight and just be like, maybe 115 isn't for you anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe we should go back and, like, work on some stuff now that we have a better idea of how Rose is going to fight.
And if I'm Joanna's team, I would look at history, and history is not kind to the champion who loses the title and then gets that immediate rematch. It's really not kind to those people. So I would, not that you can be like, well, we can buck that. Like, it doesn't mean that you can't win, but I can't think of a champion off the top of my head who loses the title and then gets that immediate rematch, and then it's like, but just regains it. So I think 125 is where she needs to be. I think that this weight cut has been
Hard.
grueling for a long time. It doesn't make sense to keep doing it. I don't think anybody's gonna turn face on you just because or turn heel on you just because you want to move up and you don't want to fight for your title again. You can always go back down if you need to. But 125 is a fresh weight class, and she will probably dominate that weight class alongside Valentina.
So
That's the
if you
fight we
guys
need to see.
like, if you guys want an idea of how hard the weight cut is for her, when was this? She fought. Was it Tara La Rosa in Cage Warriors? Like all those years ago.
Rosie Sexton is the one I remember.
Rosie Sexton, that's the one. She fought Rosie Sexton, and I think that was at flyweight, and she came in underweight. She was like 123, 124, and that's because she said she had like a long, hot car ride where she just sweated out a pound before they got to the arena.
Wow.
But she's like, I think this was around the time like the rumor started that the UFC was going to add the strawweight division, and she basically came out and said she wouldn't do it because the cut would almost kill her.
All right.
And that was how many years and how many wars ago?
Yeah.
So
I mean, she just go to 125. It doesn't make sense. And I didn't see anything from Joanna that's gonna make me be like, you can be the best technical fighter in the world. You can be the most proficient fighter in the world. But it was just like two different types of athletes in there. And I don't think you can make up I don't think a second fight is going to make up that athletic difference. You know, everybody has that. I remember like when I had a boxing trainer who I was good friends with, he always said everybody has an Iran Barkley. Like everybody has that one guy they can't beat. And I feel like this is like, in hindsight, there's just no, like, I don't think she can beat Rose in terms of just, there's a better athlete. It'll always come down to athletics, and I think that she's the better athlete.
Yeah, the one person that just always has your number.
Yeah, you always, like, again, Tommy Hearns.
And you might beat everybody else. And it's just one person.
She is Claudia Gadelia's Iran Barkley. So, you know, everybody has one. You hope you don't run into him.
I will just to, I don't know, come to like the defense of Joanna, I guess, a little bit. Yeah, she got absolutely smoked here. But I don't think this is a sway. I don't think we saw enough of Rose, or we've seen enough of this Rose to know how she digs herself out of a hole. You know what I mean?
That's a good.
Like if she can do this again.
Yeah.
No, I think that's
like,
totally fair.
Like,
totally fair.
Like we've seen Rose do this whole like as a dominant range striker before, like against Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Like she was beating her ass for about 4 minutes until Kowalkiewicz found something that worked.
Right.
And she just kept going back to it for like the next 10 minutes. I don't know if that works for like Jędrzejczyk. Like matter of fact, if like they run it back, I'm going to pick Rose to win it.
Right. No, I get what you're saying. For me though, it's just the weight cut plus the fact that she didn't look good in any form or fashion in this fight, and it can always be a bad night. Everybody has a bad night, but this weight cut plus the damage, the accumulation of strikes over so many fights, plus the fact that she's been in all these wars, plus the fact that Rose is a better athlete, and I don't know. I wouldn't. If I was her team, I'd just say let's go to flyweight. Let's go try flyweight.
Yeah. Plus, whoever gets that flyweight title is probably going to be a way easier
You're
fight.
getting wrecked.
Yeah. Oh my God. Do we really?
Like you're gonna get the ads. You're gonna have such a massive highlight reel.
Like I love Roxy, but like no.
Oh my God. Or Ponchak.
Oh my God.
No, and I'll clarify. Like, I'm not saying Joanna's not a good fighter. I just don't think this is a good matchup for her. And historically, when the champion loses, it's like, I'm trying to, like, BJ Penn. Remember how everybody was like, well, Edgar can't do that to BJ Penn again, and he just did it worse.
Yeah.
Like, there are always those.
Oh boy, that brings me back. That was the beginning. I used to hate Frankie. Oh boy, I used to.
You and everybody else who wasn't from Jersey.
I used to hate Frankie.
Frankie Edgar, no joke. I bet on Frankie Edgar to win at UFC 118, so he made me money. So I'm happy for him. Although, fuck Frankie Edgar. come this Max Holloway fight because I've chosen my side. I'm on.
Oh man, but yeah, I guess to wrap up Young Jacek though, yeah, great performance from Rose, but yeah, I would say for Young Jacek, like at this point, at 120, I mean at 115, you pretty much done everything you can do.
Yeah.
Like
Although,
you've beaten.
Would you do Karolina against Joanna again in Poland? Because now there's no title fight holding you from stopping doing that.
I mean, hasn't Carolina, like, I don't know, hinted that she might want to try 125? Because if you really want to run that fight, you can do it as a number one contender fight for whoever's wins the tough whoever
No,
wins
but
tough.
we just heard Paige is fighting for the title. We can't have two number one contenders.
I mean, the UFC officials did say it wasn't happening, so
Yeah,
I'm
they
assuming.
recanted.
So
we'll see who has the real power.
No, I was gonna say, like, they said it's not happening, so it's probably happening.
Probably gonna happen, and it'll probably happen on pay-per-view.
That's yay.
So I didn't actually. Now that you mention that, like, what happens if the 125 title, it's being competed in a tournament, right?
Yeah.
So what happens if one of the finalists pulls out?
Ooh. I assume one of the
Because I don't
semifinalists
think you
step
put
in?
somebody. Yeah, but there's a belt on the line. You would have someone coming in there off a loss.
That's a good question. Like,
Jessica Ives just sitting there, fingers crossed, man.
Jessica,
Waiting
God
for that
damn.
phone to ring. I guess
Oh, boy.
if you were desperate, there is that Rawlings Calderwood fight in November, right?
Yeah.
In November,
Or-
we're in November. What am I talking about?
Like, yeah, in like 2 weeks or something. I mean, if Calderwood was to put it on Rawlings like she did Letourneau, I wouldn't be mad at that, to be honest with you.
You could have a 115er come up on short notice. Calvillo.
They'll figure something out. The UFC's always doing some crazy.
Yeah.
they'll figure some kind of weird alternative. I mean, we're not too far removed from Walt Harris taking a fight on like 3 hours notice.
We're talking about a card where a dude came out of retirement 4 years off. So yeah, they'll do whatever it takes.
They'll figure.
They're
out
gonna
something.
bring back Laura D'Auguste to fight for the flyweight title. And I'm the only person who gets that reference, but it makes me happy.
Well, my God, what's her name? Jesus Christ. She competed in Super Fight League. I'm trying to think of Sonia Sachevich, something like that. She competed in
Yes.
Super Fight League. We'll put her
I
in.
know you're talking.
You know what's really great? I'm kind of stalling because I totally forgot everything about this next fight. So it's like, you guys better have some great mods.
Oh, man.
Boy. Like, I'm blanked on it.
Wonder Boy was sniping. I guess we probably should do an intro, but this was the fight that kicked off the card.
We're only like an hour and a half, and I think they know this card.
Yeah. Wonder Boy, Jorge Masvidal. I was a little worried. I'm not gonna lie when this fight got announced because I was rooting for Wonder Boy, but like I thought Masvidal was gonna win because just Wonder Boy's been kind of a little lately. Like he's been there, but he's not all the way there. Like I don't know. I feel like he's been kind of shaky, and like Masvidal is just always game. Like you know he's gonna bring it every fight. But yeah, man, Wonder Boy was he was sniping Masvidal. Like I rewatched this fight this morning, and man, there was a point where like I can't remember what round, but like Wonder Boy threw like a left and kind of just like pawed it out there, and like simultaneously like shifted to the right and then threw a right, and like Masvidal just looked like he had no idea what just happened.
Oh, that was the second
Like,
round. Yeah.
yeah, it was such a fluid motion. Like he looked like he had no idea
Was
what
that
even
when he got
happened.
Yeah, that's the one.
No,
yeah.
I've been.
Oh,
was it? Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I can't remember, but yeah, it was. Wonder Boy just had a lot of those moments where it was just like he was just landing like these shots that just Masvidal was just like, what is going on right now? Like, how are you? Just a lot of weird angles. You know, he always fights with his hands down, so I guess you can't really see the punches coming when they do. He's sniping these 1-2 combinations, and like you could tell like Masvidal was still putting up a fight, like, but I just felt like he couldn't. There was no consistency with Masvidal. Like he couldn't find a groove. Like it was just. I felt like he spent a lot of the fight trying to figure out Wonder Boy, but at the same time he wasn't getting anything off. Meanwhile, Wonder Boy is just out here just, you know, and not to make it sound like it was an annihilation, but like Wonder Boy clearly won that fight. Like he was on it. I wanted to see that Wonder Boy against Woodley, but that situation is what it is. But yeah, Wonder Boy looked really good, and then he landed a side kick that literally just took Masvidal off his feet. Like, yeah, man, Wonder Boy was on it this fight. He looked really, really good, and I saw on Twitter that Darren Till wants to fight Wonder Boy, and I'm all for it. So I'm just gonna throw that out there.
This fight just kind of highlights how great Tyron Woodley is.
Yeah, actually looking at my notes. That's literally all it says is Woodley is the best neutralizer in MMA.
Like, because Woodley went 50 minutes with this man and is still champion.
I think it shows this entire 170 is like the bootleg 155. Like everybody at 155 is fantastic, and everybody at 170 is pretty good. But like at 155, this guy can beat this guy, can beat that guy, can beat that guy, can beat that. Like Woodley looks amazing, but this is still the same Woodley who lost to Roy
McDonald, yeah.
Who Wonder Boy beat. So it's like everybody's like just kind of all on top, and Woodley is the king of the hill as of right now. He's the best neutral. He has the one thing nobody in that division has, and that's legitimate like sleep power. And Thompson got hit with some shots from what I remember from Masvidal that if Woodley hit him, he would have been out. And it's like that's why he's the best in this division. He has the best power.
Yeah. And Wonder Boy looked amazing here. Just like this was the most impressive Wonder Boy's ever looked, in my opinion, in the UFC. And I picked Masvidal going into this fight, thinking that we'd see more of the Masvidal that fought Cerrone. So he would get after it, like every time like Thompson even put one of his legs in the air, he tried to catch it and go with the counter over the top. And to his credit, we saw that a couple times. Like he would dive. Like there was 2 instances where he dove in on takedowns. Pretty obviously wasn't trying to get him down. Just got to his hips, and as Wonder Boy was going to defend, he just stood up and Masvidal just unleashed like a couple hooks on him.
Bless you.
Thank you. I was trying not to make sure anybody heard that.
Would have been rude if I didn't mention it. Would have been rude. I would have been a rude person.
Oh man.
But there wasn't enough of that. He was even getting to Thompson with like the leg kicks, and there wasn't enough of it. Like this is the Masvidal that was losing split decisions at lightweight, except it was against a bigger, better striker than he's normally used to facing. Like, you're not going to win a kick fighting point competition with Wonder Boy. It's just not going to happen.
Right. People need to stop being surprised that Masvidal starts slow, and by the time he's going, the fight's over. People need to stop being like... Because I had somebody who sent me a message, and he's like, man, I expected more from Masvidal. Looked like he started to get going. Like, that's just how he is. Like, he's got one speed, and it's slow and steady wins the race, and,
Yeah. Like,
don't do Woodley Wonder Boy again. Like, don't do that. Don't do that to him, to anybody. It doesn't help anybody.
Yeah.
Like, and to his credit, I believe when Wonder Boy had it mentioned, he was like, yeah, I'd like to fight for the title, but I know that the last few fights weren't necessarily who I am. So, do Covington Thompson. You want to do that?
Please give me Covington Thompson.
Right, so he can I don't mean to go into fighter bashing, but...
No, go ahead, dude.
Yeah, I would want to see that fight, so Covington can just get washed off the face of the earth. Like, just washed out of the top 15. Like,
if I'm Wonder Boy, I'm like, do I just like go out there and say I beat Robert Whittaker?
He did. I think people forget that.
Yeah, so like.
But to be fair, that was like emaciated Robert Whittaker.
It was also like 21-year-old Robert Whittaker.
Yeah, you really do forget how young he is, like as a fighter.
Yeah, but like if I'm him, I'm bringing that up every time I get like a microphone.
Yeah, I mean, like I think Thompson could probably make 185 pretty well. I think.
Oh yeah, he's a pretty big dude.
So hey, maybe there's a fight for the future. I know a rematch. I know that Covington turned down Usman, so I'd imagine.
Of course he turned down.
To be fair to Colby Covington, I don't want to defend Mr. Covington repeatedly. To be fair, you're gonna have a hard time finding anybody who hasn't turned down Kamaru Usman.
Right.
But also, his
Apparently,
face is probably still leaking.
Yeah, from
Oh, come on now. He was
the great hands of K1
K1
Maya.
K1 Maya was in the house. You cannot talk shit after you get
Right.
out by Maya. I wasn't on the. I would have lost my mind. I would have been kicked. I would have killed this territory if I had to.
But man, yeah, Wonder Boy looked amazing. Yeah, it was. Man, I'm looking at this card. I realized there's so many just other moments still that we haven't even.
I know. I feel bad for Thompson. He has his best fight ever, and nobody's gonna remember it. Like nobody's gonna like. I couldn't remember it. There's so much that happened on this show.
We got head kicks. Hendricks got mauled. Jesus Christ. I guess we'll just keep on going down the line.
I legit forgot Wonder Boy fought on this card, like, or was going to fight on this card.
I've literally got, I want to say 3 fights that I really want to talk about, like on the prelims, and they were all great fights. Like every fight had something special, but this main card was just so ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, this main card was one for the ages. Like literally, just every fight was just like bananas. But this next fight, Paulo Henrique Costa and Johnny Hendricks. First off, I'll say Paulo is like what's the old boy from Bellator 155? Brent Primus. I look at their physiques and I'm just like, what's the diet? Like, what's the Captain America like?
Where's the horse meat?
Right.
Oh, come on now.
Man, this guy is shredded.
Well,
like
all I'll say is that in that fight, you could tell which guy was having the baconators nonstop.
Right. Yeah, man. And you know what? Like, Hendricks is a good fighter, man. But I wanted to feel bad for him in this fight, but I couldn't. It's like I feel like
think
this
it's fair
fight.
to say that Hendricks was a good fighter.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
He had moments in this fight.
I was gonna say he beat Lombard, but then like that's not.
Yeah.
Anthony Smith did that and did it way more impressive.
Like Hendricks had moments in this fight where like he was getting tagged, but then like he started to fire back a little bit. But like you could just tell, man, like Costa just looks like he hits like a Mack truck, and it just seemed like it was. You were just waiting for the moment where it was just gonna end. Like you knew it was coming, and I felt like this fight was just like Hendricks, his punishment for just missing weight so many times. Like this was the punishment. That's why like I couldn't feel, cause like every time Costa landed a hit, I'm like, oh my god, he hits hard, and like I wanted to feel bad for Hendricks, but I was like, well, this is what happens when you're at 170 and you're not. You're just missing weight like it's your job to miss weight. And then they let you go to 185 and you miss weight and they spot you 15 pounds and you still miss weight. Like you deserve this at this point. I can't feel bad for you. But yeah, that's a scary dude, man. That is a very strong, athletic, hits incredibly hard. Like what's his record? 10-0, 11-0?
I think 11-0.
Yeah, 11-0. So
I think.
Yeah, he's 11-0 overall, 3-0 in the UFC. All wins by stoppage, all by TKO, or his UFC wins all by TKO. Yeah, man, this is a scary guy. That is a scary gentleman who, yeah, they offer me that fight. I don't want to pick up that phone call. I don't know if I'm ready for that.
So I've seen this comparison a lot, and I like it. Like, Costa is a lot like over when he was kickboxing, in that he will just pin you against the fence and beat the ever-loving crap out of you. And once he gets going, it's just next to impossible to stop him.
Unless you're Oluwale, you gotta throw some crazy shit out there.
You gotta like throw the Donkey Kong back.
Yeah, what was it, like a standing Donkey Kong like hammer?
Right.
But they weren't even close to one another. It was just like, get back now. You look like an action figure that you press the button in the back and the arm goes up and down.
Oh man.
So I want to be careful here. I don't want to bury a guy. I need to see more from Costa. Because
Same.
as of right now, I hate to. This is like because the bells are gonna go off for everybody. Eric Silva, kind of that Eric Silva in the sense that he's amazing to watch, but we haven't seen him against anybody who you go, okay, well I know that guy's gonna really test him. Like Bang Bos, Oluwale is fun as hell to watch, but he's a round guy. Once the round's over, you got it. Johnny Hendricks, I don't know what's left of Johnny Hendricks. And I believe his UFC debut was Gareth McClellan, and that's not really wowing me either. I'm excited because Brazil really needs a guy like this. Brazil really needs this kind of a fighter. And he's really fun to watch. But so is Eric Silva, and so I'm kind of just like very patient to see what. I don't want this to be like a Thomas Almeida, a Thomas Almeida almost. Although Thomas Almeida, there's no shame who he lost to, but like I got to see something more, and I need to see him take a step up.
I think Thomas Almeida is actually a really good comparison, a little bit more than Silva, because with like Costa, I see a lot less spamming.
That's a good way to put. I didn't mean to compare them as fighters. I meant to compare them as like
No.
The path we're going. I'm kind of like everybody's really excited, but I saw the same thing with Eric Silva. I need to see him fight somebody who I feel he needs like a David Branch. Maybe not David Branch the fighter, but like that mid-level middleweight who you go, okay, I know who he is. I know what he's going to do. I have an idea of what this fighter's about. I want to see him meet one of those guys. 3 fights in, he's looked amazing. I'm excited to see him again. But I just need to see a little bit. I need to see a little bit more.
Yeah. But like the things I see from him that I really like are just like he's smart with his shot selection. Like he's not just out there spamming overhand rights,
Right.
and throwing like spinning back kicks, like jump spinning back kicks for no reason other than just to like get some style points or whatever.
Right, I got what you mean.
But what really concerns me with him is his ability, like his defense. Because we only saw like bits of it here because Hendricks, and I really want to talk about like how Hendricks' game is just like completely dissipated. It's not even like a facsimile of his former self, but
God damn, we got some big words getting dropped in this bad boy.
yeah, but like when Hendricks would actually come forward and throw, like I keep wanting to call him Borachinya, like.
But that was his. Yeah, what happened with that? Like that was his name, wasn't it?
I think if his English after the fight was any indication, I think he realizes that if he wants to make money long term, people are going to have to be able to pronounce his name.
Well, he needs to get in touch with that Muslim Salikov guy and let him know, give him the secrets to success to make it in the United States-based UFC.
But he basically he's like he kept the nickname, but it's in English now, so he's
Okay.
Paulo the Eraser Costa.
Perfect.
He's working on his English. He seems to understand that part of the game, so I'm really happy about that. But like with his defense, it is basically arms up, back straight up until he stops punching, and then you can punch again.
I thought he showed good survival instincts against Oluwale in terms of just like, because Oluwale is coming forward at all times, so it was like that storm. I thought he weathered it very well. So I see what you're talking about in terms of just the fact that his defense is not great. Sometimes I feel like he's a little too rigid. Like you always get the feeling that he's like stiff, almost like you were the first guy to really jump on Misha Serkunov for being this like a human board, and I'm not saying that Costa's that kind of a guy. But like, there's a little bit of rigidity in his game, so I'm excited because I really want to see. Like, I'm all for a new Brazilian who gets people really excited. The upside for this guy to me is like a JDS. Like, he has that kind of, not that he'll be as successful as Junior Santos, but Junior Santos picked it up quick. He understood that he needed to learn English. He understood kind of his persona, how to portray himself on big shows. So, like, I think that there's high upside here. I'm just a little cautious.
Yeah, and one thing he has going for him is middleweight's not like lightweight or featherweight. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for real.
He can track his way up pretty. I don't want to say track his way up fast, but he can get his name in some good conversation.
Well, that and there's fluff.
Yeah.
Like once he's actually ready for once they're ready to throw him to the big time, it's going to be like a big step. But this isn't like heavyweight where you go from fighting, I don't know, like Copeland 1 week, and then like the next week you're fighting. The next time out you're fighting like Ngannou.
Yeah, I got what you mean. Like Curtis Blades debuted against Ngannou, and like his third fight, he's fighting Omielanchik. So I got what you mean.
Yeah, so like there are just some tough guys you can throw at Costa until he's ready.
And he'll be a better athlete, I think, than most of the guys he faces.
Absolutely.
Like he's so it's not like even if he's technically inadequate, like Uriah Hall, like even if there's flaws, he's a good enough athlete, I think, that he might be able to cover those.
Yeah.
Now, there's a show in Brazil on February 3rd. If you were a matchmaker, you're matchmaking. Is he on that card? That's the Super Bowl weekend card that normally does a pretty good number. It's in Brazil. He might be kind of getting up there. You might need a Brazilian up-and-comer. Like, do you try to squeeze him in on there? Because I got an opponent in mind, and maybe it's just cathartic for me.
Who you got in mind?
Sam Alvey.
Sam Alvey?
Oh Lord.
No, it's not that. It's not that. I think Alvey could do some things that test him.
Yeah.
Take that fight.
I like that fight. I like that.
Well, have the main event, but just put him on the card.
Yeah, have him as the like curtain jerker. Or not the curtain jerker for the main card anyway.
I totally got what you mean. And he could fight underneath Thiago Santos' next fight.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of who else they could match him up with that has a little bit, like has like a little bit of like cachet.
Yatko?
What about I don't know. I was gonna say maybe a guy like a Natal.
He retired, I think. But
Did he?
Yes.
yeah, but I like the idea that I kind of like what you're thinking about.
Yeah, give him like a veteran, not somebody who's like a world beater, but somebody who's they can
Yeah,
I don't know.
they have experience and
yeah, basically
they're not gonna fold just because like Costa's just putting volume in their face or putting power in their face.
Right.
Tim Boach is that guy all the time. Just throw Tim Boach in there.
And they just watch Tim Boach just knock him the fuck out.
Right.
This is what Tim Boach lives for. He lives for these those fights.
Oh man. Yeah, actually, you know what? I wouldn't be mad at the Bosch fight, but yeah, that would be wild if he.
Maybe a nice little in between, like an Anthony Smith type.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like forgive the description. I'm trying to think of like a pasty, proven, kind of a one-track guy.
Kamosi?
Not pasty. That's just like when I think of the middleweight division, I just think of those kind of guys, like those workman, construction worker type dudes who just.
Dan Kelly.
No, please, no.
Like every time I think of middleweight, I go back to like when Chris Weidman was like climbing the ranks and like your gateway to the top 10 was like Court McGee and like
Chris
Tom
Camozzi.
Lawler and Chris
Yeah.
Camozzi.
Nick Ring, basically anybody who fought on a recent tough was like.
Oh my God, Nick Ring.
I remember thinking Nick Ring was going to be a big deal. Ryan Jensen, like I got what you mean. I'm trying to think of who he could fight that would make sense, and it just like. I'm trying to think of just pasty Christoph Yatko, pasty dude. Eric Spicely.
What about like a Brad Tavares?
I think Brad's kind of.
I think he's like a step up from that.
Is that a too big of a step?
I don't want to say it's too big of a step up, but it might be too big of a step down for Tavares. He's kind of on a little bit of.
Yeah.
Elias Theodorou, maybe. Yeah.
I can see that. I like.
I mean,
that.
I don't want to see it, but.
I think in terms of if you go by like if you do it all in terms of like ranking and like Theodoro has experience, but he's not like some world beater, but he's still he's still a guy who's been out there enough times that it's not like just an easy fight you'll run through. Like he'll give you some pushback. Like I think that's a good fight. I like that.
I like that fight too.
I can go
Who's
with that.
oh my God, what's his name? Talis Lates. Is he still?
I mean, I don't think did he retire? I want to say he did.
I don't know, but he got crunched by Tavares.
Yeah, Tavares.
But I don't think he would do that fight in
man's
Brazil.
face
I don't
off.
think he would do Brazil versus Brazil in Brazil.
Yeah.
In Brazil.
But either way, scary guy. I'm pretty sure they should definitely put him on that Brazil card though. Like let him Let him show
Super
out.
Bowl weekend,
And-
Fox is going to be promoting it. I don't know if Fox has the Super Bowl this year, but I know they have the Pro Bowl, and they tend to do those weekends all together. I would do it. God, what are you going to lose?
Yeah, I would throw him on there. God, I almost don't even want to talk about this next fight.
So Joe Duffy got the shit kicked out of him, everybody.
Yeah, man. Oh my God. Yeah, James Vick.
All I'm going to say is that I think if Duffy didn't sign his UFC deal, like if this was not his first fight, he would have won. Because there's like this weird thing where when you get like that heavily promoted new UFC contract, like the next fight you automatically seem to lose. It just seems like that's this weird thing. Because it happened to Sterling. It happened to who else did it happen to? There was another Overeem. Dustin Poirier. Speaking of, he'll be fighting next week, but Dustin Poirier also lost. I think McGregor got a new deal after beating Aldo, so you can kind of count that too if you want. So there's just some. It's like that. It's like the Eminem curse, but with contracts.
Well, you fight hard for the new deal, and once you get it, you don't put your foot all the way down, I guess.
Yeah, he just. It just seemed like it wasn't all of. I mean, he did okay in the first round, from what I kind of sort of remember.
It was a competitive round, but I felt like everything of significance was coming from Vic. Like I felt like the power difference was startling.
I mean, for one, Vic is like 6'3", and somehow he's making 155, which I don't know how that works.
Not a fan. I believe on commentary they said he came in. He normally comes into fight week at like 175, 176. It's like that's unreal. That's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Like we need to.
Yeah, that's a big boy.
He doesn't give a shit about your use.
Duffy just seemed like he just wasn't all the way there. Like he wasn't as sharp as I've seen him be before. Like it just, and I guess not to discredit Vic. You know, he shut the lights out.
That's one way to put it.
He did what you're supposed to do. But like Duffy it seemed like he just wasn't all the way there. Like I don't know, something just seemed kind of off.
I really think it was like the reach. Like in the first round, he was just moving around so much, just like ducking and trying to get any type of power to land on on Vic, and just like the second round, he was just straight up flat. He was throwing single punches. It's like one of those fights where like it doesn't. What's happening in the cage doesn't what's happening in the scorecards doesn't reflect what's happening in the cage. It's like watching Tony Ferguson versus Kevin Lee, and like you just see where Kevin Lee is just going to come up short.
So it's like the perfect storm. Like the boat's not gonna make it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I understand you.
It's like Corey Anderson and Ovin St. Preux.
Yeah, that's a fantastic comparison actually, because that's kind of how I felt watching that fight.
Like Duffy looked pretty good for like a good couple of minutes in the first round, but like towards the end of the round, like the momentum was just in Vic's favor.
Can I maybe make a? I don't know if this is a hot take, but has Joe Duffy beaten a single fighter who remains in the UFC?
Let's pull up that record.
Off the top of my head, Reza Madadi and Mitch Clark are no longer in the company.
You might be right, because I don't know if Ivan George.
No, he is not.
Is it fair to I'm a big Joe Duffy fan. I was really excited when he came in. Is it fair to wonder if maybe he just is like kind of what he is, so to speak? Like there's a cap on him. Do you think maybe? Because
I don't want to believe.
I like Joe Duffy. I was a big Cage Warriors fan. I enjoyed him. I enjoy his fights. I think he's a fun fighter. But he's gotten 2 step-ups now. Took a step back versus Poirier, and took a step back here. So I wonder if there is a Joe Lozon type ceiling here. You know what I mean?
I don't want to believe that. I gotta. I want. I'm a glutton for punishment.
I just wonder if he's. I just wonder if he. It obviously the size was a difference, but it felt like in this fight and in the Poirier fight, he was just out athleted, and it was like one guy was just a little bit more versatile than him, because I felt like Vic's kicks were a whole world better than what Duffy was bringing to the table. So.
Yeah. I think you might be right. Like,
It's
I
like him
don't-
so much. I don't want to I don't want to wish it into
Yeah.
existence. You know what I mean?
Right.
yeah, but he's also about to be 30. Like,
That's a good point.
and been fighting since 2008. I know he took like 4 years off to go box, but
And I wonder if that boxing, like, he seems real comfortable with his hands, but against Poirier, he was taken down and elbowed. Against Vic, it felt like the kicking game were two different universes. He threw an axe kick that was like embarrassing almost in terms of execution. So, like, I just wonder if maybe like I wonder if I hate to keep saying like, but I just wonder if Duffy has a ceiling. Every fighter has one, but some of them are higher than others, I guess.
I think we're probably at Duffy's ceiling, sadly.
Duffy, I believe in you.
I too. I don't want to. I feel bad. I feel like I'm burying.
I'm gonna hang on to a small thread and say, you go back to the drawing board one more time. But yeah, if we see you take another step up and it doesn't turn out so well, then yeah.
It feels like another fighter who. Hard to say this because he won in the main event, but felt like another fighter who went to TriStar and kind of didn't come out.
Better.
Yeah. Didn't come out with the improvement you would expect from a top gym like that.
Yeah.
But
Did we mention how the fight ended?
We were too busy. Well, one of us is. Well, I was.
I'm trying not to remember
One of us was having a funeral mourning. The other one was buried.
Like I'm remiss to compliment James Vick because.
Oh yeah, I feel terrible. James Vick did an awesome job, and.
Well, you shouldn't because fuck James Vick.
Oh come on.
No.
I get what you're saying. I know what you're gonna say because I'm with you. But
all right. Hashtag fuck Lloyd Irvin.
I don't like it, but I also don't want to. I don't want to take away from what was a fantastic performance.
you know what? I actually and not to get on a quick side note, I actually just started like looking into that this morning, like just kind of refreshing my memory on that. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is. Woof. It was some weird. I don't know, man. Yeah. I'll leave it alone. But there was some weird. Like I don't know. I don't know.
I understand what you're saying. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm just. I don't want to.
Conversation for another day, but suffice.
I guess.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to. It's like when those guys from Chechnya have that great performance, and you kind of want to. You don't want to. You can't take away from what they did, so you always have to be fair.
And the thing is, like, I don't want to bash Vic because it's like it wasn't you.
Yeah,
like,
that's
at least
what I'm.
From as far as I know, like it wasn't you. Like you weren't there when this happened.
I mean,
but at the same
none
time,
of us
it's
were, so to speak. So it's like, and I don't want to punish James Vick for having a great fight. And like,
no, yeah, absolutely. But
Like,
and
did what
the
you were
finish
supposed
to the
to.
fight was great because it kind of just builds on what we were saying before. Like Duffy could not get to the inside with Vic and do it comfortably, so he was just like kind of lunging.
Yep.
And I think they mentioned this on commentary where like Vic isn't really an outfighter, but like he'll hit you coming in if you get reckless with it. But like he mostly wants to hit you with that uppercut, and that's what ended up just blanking Duffy.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's just go on to the next fight. I don't want to talk.
Was OSP next, or was it the Walt Harris?
No, Walt Harris.
ticket, baby.
Walt Harris is up to bat.
Big ticket.
Oh man, this was I'm gonna be honest. Like I don't remember the fight. I just remember this one moment.
I remember Walt Harris being very, very successful, and then deciding, you know what, I'm being too successful.
You know what?
Yeah.
Fuck this guy.
Yeah, he's like,
he got a bit too
maybe
ambitious, so to
Godbeer
speak.
said something. He's like, I had to fucking fight Verdun because of this bullshit. One way or another, I'm taking a skull with me.
Yeah, I mean, Walt Harris was throwing heat, but he kept throwing heat in situations where he needed to calm down for a few moments. I guess for anybody, if you didn't watch the prelims, yeah, anything else that would have happened this fight just is going to get overshadowed by the DQ because it was just one of those moments. And I said this pre-recording, and I'll say it again. In a slight defense of Walt Harris, and for the people who don't know, the situation was basically Walt Harris landed, I think it was a knee that went low.
Yeah.
And the referee was attempting to stop the fight, to give Godbeer some time to recover. And Walt Harris was just kind of like, well, I'm just going to keep fighting.
It was basic. He suggested.
Right. Basically kind of what happened. In a slight defense of Walt Harris, if you look at the replay, so like Walt Harris, of course, you're facing Godbeer. You're focused on the fight. In the moment that like he went low, the ref is kind of like off to his side. So like it didn't look like he was even looking at the ref. So like, and as a fighter, it's your job. You keep fighting until the ref pulls you off. So he's still kind of doing his thing, but the ref did interject. He literally yelled at him repeatedly. I'll give him a slight benefit. You're in a stadium. You're in the heat of a moment in the fight. You're probably not really listening to what's going on. But at one point, the ref literally stepped in front of him.
Touched him.
Like,
Had his arm.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, like touched him, grabbed him, like, hey, you got to stop. And Walt Harris proceeded to throw a head kick.
In all fairness, Walt Harris is a very big man.
I understand. Well, who the fuck did he think was grabbing him? He thought a fan run in?
Well, Walt Harris is a very big man. Once he starts getting in motion for that leg kick.
Oh, no, I can understand in that regard. I'm just saying, he said if you would have touched me, I wouldn't have thrown it. But it's like he's fucking holding on to you, guy. Like, he's touching you. He thought some, like, Joe Rogan was the whole... You know what? Maybe he was like, I already won the fight. So now this is Joe Rogan grabbing me to do the post-fight.
Right.
So I got to throw this kick quick because I need it on I need to make a gif.
Right.
Like, I got to have the gif of the finish.
Like my thought process was, maybe he thinks it's like the mat over, like there's a jiu-jitsu contest where there's like just like 50 matches going on at once.
And like, even though it wasn't like a full flesh head kick, he still landed a good like portion of his foot, and like you heard the slap, like it was still.
God forbid me. Maybe he thought Corey Anderson was getting up. Maybe that's what happened. He was like, oh shit, Corey's up.
But yeah, poor Godbeer, man. He's over here trying to recover from the family jewels getting hit, and he eats a foot in the face for his troubles. And yeah, a bunch of just
family jewels. The hops were hurt.
Just a bunch of confusion ensues, and the fight ends in a disqualification because you can't kick people in the face when the referee is trying to like get your attention. So yeah,
I'm just throwing this out there. Dick knees to head kick should be legal because that's a slick combination. I'm just saying.
Oh Jesus Christ! He would be, who is it? Czech Congo would be undefeated.
Oh my God! Yeah.
He's a hero.
He would have been.
You know what happened? No, hold on. Here's what happened. I figured it out. The first heavyweight fight of the night had a like the ear kick, the downed ear kick moment. So maybe Walt Harris was like, well, fuck, if they're gonna DQ me, I better make sure this fucking thing looks sweet. Let it go. Gotta make sure.
Like you only kick the ear. I got the whole right cheek.
You know what?
Like...
Maybe they're setting up a Walt Harris, Curtis Blades, no rules, Yama pit fight where you can just knee and throw head kicks reckless abandon.
You see, that's where Bellator messed up, and by never making Eric Prindle, Thiago Santos 3.
Dude, Eric Prindle and Walt Harris, do it now. Put it on the barge fights.
Oh man, I feel bad for Godbeer. He just got lost in all of this. Like...
He's gonna lose the fight. Let's be realistic. Godbeer got like a,
Godbeer got
there's a touchdown, but there was a holding on the play, so you get another chance. Like,
right?
He got a holding penalty. I mean, and that's so unfortunate for Walt Harris. It's like he's building momentum going into this fight in October, and then Derek Lewis gets yanked. So they're like, Walt Harris, will you fight Verdum? And it made sense. You're not going to lose anything if you lose anyways. So he takes the fight, and he loses in like 7 seconds. Armbar, no shame. You get another chance, another crack to kind of regain your momentum. And he was winning this fight effortlessly, it felt like. It felt like it was going to end the way it eventually ended, just with a legal head kick. And knees him low, and then follows it up with the most amazing, like that's the perfect head kick. I mean, minus not knocking him out. He knees him low, hits the head kick, and he loses by DQ. So in back-to-back months, he lost fights. He probably first one he probably shouldn't have even had, and the second one he probably should have won. So it's like all that momentum, and he's 0-2 in his last 2 fights.
Meanwhile, Mr. Mark Godbeard's over here with his 2 win bonuses.
And his
Get him.
busted ass nuts after that.
Oh,
And then
man.
the best part is DC. And I'm hit and miss on Cormier on commentary. Sometimes his passion is really great. Other times it's like he's too excited. And he's like, well, his hands went up, so he was at least like he was cognizant that he put his hands up before he fell. It's like, what does that even mean? Like, what are you talking about? That's like,
You still got kicked
yeah.
in the
You ever
face.
see those head kicks where the dude falls and his arms just shoot right up afterwards? It's like that doesn't mean he's conscious. It just means his body's doing something.
His body was in shock.
I just got kicked in the nuts, and then the referee, this referee didn't protect me, and I got kicked in the face. And Walt Harris is like, I didn't hear it, and I didn't feel you touch me. Like, dude, he's in there with you. So the cameraman jumped in.
This card literally had everything.
I like to point out that we kept all the officiating craziness at the bottom of the card this time.
Yeah, thank God.
So
I'm still,
man.
and by the way, I just want to point out, I don't think that the refs in the Joanna fight and the Garbrandt fight get enough credit for kind of giving the champion every possible opportunity to maybe just pull it off. So, and the stoppages weren't late. I thought they were both fair. Joanna, even if Joanna doesn't tap, I think that probably would have been stopped there anyways. So
yeah.
I did see some people complain that the Garbrandt stoppage was a little quick.
No way.
Nah.
Well, for starters, no, it wasn't. But also, number 2, the state of New York just got sued for like $20 million.
Yeah, that's a good point.
God, what's the man's name?
Oh my God, I know who you're talking about.
Oh God, I can't.
Tim Hague?
No, that's so. A couple years ago in a boxing match,
Magomed Abdul Salamov.
that's what it is. Magomed Abdusalov fought. Who was it? Mike Perez?
I think that was it.
He fought Mike Perez in a fight that went like the distance, and suffered severe brain trauma because, like, it was like a straight up war. I actually think Mike Perez's career was ruined by that fight. Like, I think mentally he just kind of checked out afterwards. Beside the point.
Like Darchinian, when he I forgot who Vic Darchinian fought, and they had like a similar brain issue after it. And that was after that fight he fought Donaire, and he was like never the same.
Yeah. But I can't remember all the details of like what happened. Like he can't walk anymore, and like I don't even think he can speak. Or he just recently got back to speaking, I think. And he was paralyzed. Like, I don't remember all the details about what happened, but it's part of the reason why the insurance per fighter when the MMA got legalized and MMA was so hot in New York was so high. And I think the lawsuit just got settled. He just got $20 million. So like, there's no way the New York Athletic Commission isn't telling these guys, hey, protect the fighter when they're in there.
Right, or just common sense. Like, I don't think there's something to be said for defending yourself, and there's something to be said for just covering up after you. I'm of the belief if a fighter goes face down and the first instinct they have is to just cover up, that fight is basically over. So I don't think either of those stoppages were unjust.
Yeah,
I mean,
like, I can see if you cover up and then maybe you try to roll to your back,
you're reaching for a leg, or you're like.
Yeah, but if you're just sitting there, it's
over, dude.
Yeah, you're kind of done.
Somehow, so we learned something. We just did something. We just had a positive conversation off of Mark Godbeer versus Walt Harris. Speaking of comas, I think up next is Corey Anderson and Ovince St.
Oh, yeah.
Get in there, ref.
Yeah,
God.
Oh, they didn't need the ref for this one.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
This fight is just like the perfect microcosm of Corey Anderson.
Yeah, can I lead off on this one if you would?
Please.
I believe that every fighter has flaws, but certain flaws are fatal flaws. Corey Anderson is a really good fighter, in my opinion. Maybe not every, but he's a good fighter. And he's got a lot of skills that can all go together. But he's got a fatal flaw. And that fatal flaw is that he does not handle strikes well. And when you're 205 pounds, where everybody kind of hits really hard, that's a problem. Anderson was doing so much good. He had so much good in this fight. He looked like the guy who won tough and people thought would have a really bright, promising future. I wish he would have maybe wrestled a little better. But OSP's a hard guy to keep down. He doesn't stay down very, very long.
He still got some good slams.
Yeah,
though.
he looked.
Like he lifted OSP off the ground.
I thought he was fantastic in the fight, and it was like there were some good things that he was doing. But every time OSP had any strike of significance, he did not handle it very well. Outside of one moment where he got head kicked, the first head kick, and he wobbled backwards. And he was like, "Ref, my mouthpiece," and that was a great it's such a suave kind of move. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Like you see in other combat sports. In MMA, for some reason, this is like not allowed, but it's a little suave move to kind of collect yourself. But when he gets hit, he either panic wrestles or he just covers up and goes to the fence. Can't do that all the time. In this fight, he was doing everything well. The moments when OSP would land, it was just inevitable. Like you just felt it. You could feel the fact that at some point or another, something was going to land that Corey Anderson was not going to be able to panic wrestle out of.
Yeah.
And oh my, OSP threw quite possibly the greatest head kick in his career, in his life, in the history of the 205-pound division. It landed. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Eddie Gordon against Josh Saman.
Ooh.
Just perfectly thrown, perfectly landed, and the reaction to the kick, MMA is a brutal sport. You never want to make fun of somebody getting knocked out. But my God, like that was just, everything about that was, if you're a fight fan who craves violence, quote unquote, good Lord, that finish. And OSP continues to be a guy who just call him on short notice. Every time he's on short notice, he's amazing. I don't know what it is. He's Mr. Short.
Yeah, I've rewatched his head kick a few times, and it gets more brutal every time I watch it. Like,
but brutal in like
every time I watch it,
it's so perfectly brutal. It's like, you cringe, but at the same time, you're like, well, damn. Like the Ricardo Ramos, like back elbow, it's like it's brutal. It's one of the brutal realities of the sport, but just like, Jesus, that's just, you can't do it.
And this one just kind of just happened out of nowhere. Like it wasn't really much of like a setup. It was just kind of like,
yeah, you just threw it out there and it just perfect.
You just threw it and it just landed, and it's like, oh,
fatal flaws and inevitability. Like it was just like at some point it's gonna land, or at some point he's gonna hit something on him, and you're just waiting. That's edge of your seat. Like, all right, what's gonna happen? And then, bam.
Yeah.
Did we get OSP and Shogun again after this?
Probably.
He called out Ilir Latifi, which is not a bad fight either.
I mean,
oh yeah, he did.
Then the winner of that can fight Shogun.
For real. Then the winner of that can fight Jones when he comes back, and then somehow we get Shogun Jones too after 7 years. I think OSP. You know what? Let me just real quick be fair. There's something I mentioned this before. At the bigger weight classes, your availability is your ability. So I think OSP deserves a lot of credit for always being available when there's a fight that's coming up. Because then if you lose, like you're already back in the cage like a month or two later. Like it never registers with the audience. So I think he deserves some credit for that.
Also, I thought he beat Uzdemir, so there's that.
Ooh, that's a good. I don't know. He didn't beat Manoa. I know that much. He got boo-booed.
Yeah. But I had the last 2 rounds for OSP.
I could see that. I could see that. I thought Ozdemir won the first and the third, if I remember correctly. But I also thought
I've always felt like
horrendous. So it's like
I always feel like for OSP, like if he just would go to a bigger gym, like he could really, like, I feel like he has a lot of upside, but like there's just something missing.
I think there was a I'm with you. I think you're 100% accurate. There was a critical moment where he got slammed on his face. Corey Anderson had his back momentarily. He was able to get back to his feet, and the first thing he did was shoot in for a takedown. And it was like those little fight IQ moments where he should have separated, and like it feels like he has those moments way too often. Like against Glover Teixeira, he was really successful at range, but he kept shooting in, and it's like, who's in your corner telling you not to do that? And why aren't you listening to them? You know what I mean?
I can't remember what it was. I feel like we once actually listened into OSP's corner, and they were just giving him like downright like insane advice. I can't remember the fight.
Is it the Jones fight where they were like, it wasn't anything technical. It was just I know what you're talking about. I think it was the Jones fight or one of those fights around that time where they didn't give him any technical advice. It was just like, this is why you run the treadmill every morning. Like, you're not tired. Like, that doesn't really help. It's like the BJ Penn corner that would just tell him, like, we'll just go beat him up. Like, that was what they were telling. What was it against I think it was against Edgar, where his corner in, like, the 4th round is just like, you just got to go fucking beat him up. Like, well, we don't understand what you just... I don't know, dude.
He needs Sam Alvey's wife in his corner. So that's who he needs to yell at.
The last time I was on here, I made a joke about Edmund and Sam Alvey's wife, and you were both very upset. So I'm not gonna go back there.
Wait, what? That doesn't sound like me.
It got the cringe, the audible cringe. Maybe that's what OSP needs head movement.
Hey man, I don't know.
Corey Anderson, like, to me, we're just like, he's like the ceiling for someone like Devin Clark, where like Clark's abilities are limited by his size and just like lack of technical depth. Like Corey Anderson he just lacks an X factor that hides his flaws.
That's a great way to put it. He doesn't have that one. Like OSP, his fight IQ, like you can make. I believe OSP's fight IQ is his downfall a little bit, but it doesn't matter if he's like, he's just so much better of an athlete than most of these guys in this weight class, and he's got like a lot of sneaky little tricks that he keeps in his. Like that head kick is pretty sneaky. He's got basically a gimmick finisher, so it's like he's got a lot that.
It's like a wrestling move.
It's like his finishing hold. It's like the gimmick finisher. So he's got a lot of things in his. He's always got something, and I think that there are a lot of guys at 205 who don't have something.
Yeah, and Anderson feels like he should. Like, he's not a physical presence. He's not enough of a physical presence to be a wrestler. He doesn't have like this just straight up knockout power.
Is he like the 205 Neil Magny?
Kinda.
So,
like
there's talent there. You can tell. Like
there's talent.
He puts in work at the gym.
There's process. Like Corey Anderson has a very solid game for light heavyweight.
Comes from a great camp.
Yeah,
like, Mark Henry's
right, but
no complaints about him as a trainer.
But
I don't know, dude.
But like he puts on a good pace, but he's not like a Patrick Cummins who's just like pathologically just going to come after you. Like there's just nothing for him to fall back on when like things go bad or when he like. I think Jordan Breen mentioned it. Like he's just bad at neutral positions.
I don't think it's wrong to suggest that in another weight class, a guy with his skill set probably wouldn't still be in the UFC. Like he's kind of a bread and butter type. He doesn't have anything that you look at and go, like he doesn't have any special traits. And in divisions that are a little bit more advanced, like you need to have something that separates you. He's like one of those guys like a Mitch Clark who just has like these basic skill sets. And then as the competition gets a little tougher, like eventually those guys get washed out. In this division at 205, like who's going to stop him? This, again, like the fatal flaw. Shogun was knocked him down twice. Am I correct in that?
Yeah. Yeah,
like,
that's how he won the fight.
That's a flaw that he doesn't have a skill to replace that. It's not like Vlad Klitschko, who when his chin was questionable, he had a style that could neutralize that. He doesn't have anything.
Like I think the best comparison I've seen is like he's like a light heavyweight Frankie Edgar light. Like he like imagine Frankie Edgar at 205 and basically just can't recover like that.
No.
Like exactly like and that's where his style actually is like to his detriment. Like all this hyperactive stuff and like he gets hit like there's no recovering. This isn't lightweight.
Yeah. I just think that like he's a beneficiary like a Sam Alvey we had discussed. Not to compare them as people or as whatever, but Like, once you get above 185, you can get away with a lot more. And I don't think that he has a specific skill set that if he was a 155er or a 145er, like he would be able to rely on. Maybe his power wrestling, but we've seen like that only gets you so far, especially at light when everybody's a good wrestler at 145, 155. So
yeah, like dude, like half this top 10 would not be in the UFC anymore. Or
that's what
top 15.
that's what I'm trying to politely say. Like, as I'm trying to politely say that Corey Anderson, not that he's not UFC quality, but he's a beneficiary of a weight class that can mask a lot of his flaws. But at the same time, the biggest flaw is the biggest. Like, you cannot live at 205 and 265 if you can't take a punch.
Yeah, like, like if you want just like the perfect parallel of like where 205 is at, think of where Gomi and BJ Penn are, and think of where Shogun is.
Oh my God, good title shot.
Shogun is the best counter puncher in the division still.
Jesus Christ, blowing out knees. He might be the second best athlete behind Jones.
Yeah.
Christ.
And he's gonna get a title shot.
He's gonna get it.
next
I'm
year.
telling you.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
He's gonna retire, and it's gonna be Vulcan Shogun in Tokyo Dome for.
Oh my God! I guess he's Shogun winning.
You're saying, "Oh my God!" Other people are saying, "Oh yeah, they want to see that Shogun."
I mean,
Vitor Belfort should fight at 205. Like, he would probably stick around a little higher.
Dude, like, we might get Gustus and Shogun too for the title one day.
No, because you know what? We should get that, and here's what's gonna happen. Horn sounds, they come out, Gustafson's back locks up, Shogun's knee blows out, and we abolish the division. We just cancel the division.
Oh man.
We tell Glover he has to go fight a heavyweight.
Yeah, there are no more young guns for you to stop, and all the old guys are dead. So we gotta send you somewhere else.
Rumble will come back. Holy shit! Rumble could probably like roll out of bed, and he would be like top 5 at 205, wouldn't he?
He'd be number 3. Yeah.
He'd be Gus. He'd probably be Vulcan. DC, he seems to have like a mental mind meld on him. Because when Rumble gets in there with DC, he just doesn't even. I have no idea. I've never what can you even compare that?
I get mad when I think about that second
Rumble
fight.
just has like an inferiority complex, I think.
Something. It's something. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. 205 is like a whole podcast of just
sad.
Maybe DC reminds him of a what was it? A clay country dirt road? Is that what it was? Or that's why he's having a hard time.
Oh no. I still got three. This next fight I honestly don't got a whole much to really say. Randy Brown, Mickey Gall. All I remember from this fight is the referee yelling at Mickey Gall like a child 30 times.
Didn't take a point. He scolded him.
Like, Mickey, don't grab that glove. Mickey,
come on.
Mickey, don't grab. Right. Like, it was hilarious, but it was just like, what is going on? But I mean, to Mickey's credit, like, I think Randy gave him the work the first round. Mickey came back, I thought, kind of strong in the second round. Like, he was putting in some groundwork, but like that third round, like, he just kind of got worked over, and he was grabbing gloves and the fence, and he was grabbing on anything he could grab on.
But can we talk real quick about Randy Brown's? Phil Davis was mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And, Randy Brown's got some Phil Davis in the sense that he has to make everything humanly harder than it has to be. It's like, Mickey Gall's got no chance on the feet with you. You're outstriking him rather comfortably. Let's just wrestle. His corner's begging him to get up. They're like on hands and on pleated knee. Please get off of him. He's like, no, I'll just hang around here. It's cool. Gets on top of him in the second round, gets swept. The only reason Mickey Gall was in this fight was because Randy Brown, either by choice or just by inexperience or whatever the case may be, allowed him to continually to be in this fight.
Like, the only thing I can think of is somebody told, like, Randy Brown wrote a preview somewhere saying Mickey Gall's path to victory was to wrestle with him.
Fuck,
and Randy
I bet
Brown
on
was
myself by sub. gotta get him down. Dude, when he got guillotined with like 30 seconds left in the round, I was like, you know what? That serves you right. That serves you right. Just like I like Randy Brown a lot. I'm really high on him, and I thought he came in a lot bigger and stronger than he's ever been. You got to listen to your corner, man. Because it's not even like that's bad corner advice. That's what he should have been doing. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah. It was...
And Mickey Gall, man, that's a big step up from photographers and pro wrestlers and human Ken dolls to fighting a very competent 170er. So.
This is legitimately like his second real fight.
First.
Like, I mean, Sage Northcutt is at very least like.
Oh no, I understand what you're saying, but that was like a Saved by the Bell fight. Like that was.
Yeah.
That was a fight for the cul-de-sac.
That was a fight for like a legacy FC welterweight championship.
Dude, that would have been a prelim. No, not a prelim. What would a show opener?
I mean, wasn't Sage the champ? Well,
I think
was
they
Sage
signed
the
him
champ?
before he even got to the belt.
Was he? I don't think
I
he
think
was.
they signed him
right.
before he got to the belt. I think his fight to get into the UFC was against a guy who was like 10-18.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, look, they've turned him into a star, so that was good stuff. But I'm just saying, like, Mickey Gall, that's a big... Randy Brown was, like, worlds. That's, like, second-grade math to pre-cal.
Yeah.
And to his credit, Gall showed some things. Like, I'm not down on him.
He had a beautiful sweep in that second
He's
round.
going to learn. He'll learn from this performance.
Yeah, he had a really good sweep in the second.
Like my only problem with Gaw is like, where do you go from here?
Well, first you learn to stop grabbing. Let's start there
Well,
first.
that's just veteran savvy.
Yeah, I mean, Joel Romero was pleased. Yes.
Oh man.
But like, Brown is basically as bottom of the division as it gets, just because he's so inexperienced himself.
Yeah, I don't know if Mickey honestly hangs around in the UFC much longer. Like, and not that he couldn't work his way back in, but like, just I don't know if he's at that level yet. Like, I feel like he just kind of got thrusted in there.
He's gonna stick around solely because they have so much. They've already have so many resources behind him.
Yeah.
They've already invested time in him.
I mean, you could start.
But yeah, I don't know what matchups like you do that.
You literally just have to give him like guys you find out of like Mexico.
How dare you? How dare you?
like athletes who just don't.
I know
have
what you
a complete
mean. I
game
totally
yet.
got what you were saying. I'm just saying. Totally understand. You can give him oh my God, I was gonna suggest BJ Penn.
Don't do that. That's not.
That's committing to the gimmick.
Let's keep BJ out of.
That's the only guy. Like, it would have to be a guy who's either really, really past it, who has a name, or just a complete unknown who has no. Like, they kind of did what you were saying with Sage Northcutt. Like, after Sage lost to Brian Barberena, they gave him a massive step down with the dude he was on Tough Latin America 2. So it's like they did kind of go and get like they would have to go to like one of those Indian Super Fight League kind of. Mickey Gall, Anup Kumar, they're not even in the same weight class.
I mean,
Ramesh Solomon.
I think he needs to fight somebody from that Alaska.
Oh my God,
promotion.
the dude who wanted the weed. So even if he loses, like he could.
Let Cody McKenzie fight at welterweight. Let's just throw him
I
back.
think Cody would have to cut some weight to fight at welterweight these days. I've heard he's rather thick.
Oh,
but
man.
I mean, like, there's really nowhere you can go with him. It's like kind of like Northcutt. Like, he's so popular, you don't have a place to put him.
like you just gonna have to throw him against like Michelle Quinones and just hope it works out.
I think Quinones is gonna put something really bad on Sage Northcutt.
Wait, what weight is that fight at?
155. He went back down.
Oh, that's dumb.
I'm rooting for you, Sage.
I don't. You know what? I don't dislike Sage Northcutt, and I think a lot of people are really mean to him for no reason.
Yeah, I feel
I
that.
don't-
Yeah, that was
I
another.
don't
Nice
dislike
guy.
this. Yeah, he just seems like a genuinely nice kid.
He's too nice
Right.
for MMA. Is the problem?
Like I get why people don't like him, but I feel like it's not his
Yeah.
fault. Like, people hate him because of how much he's promoted, but it's like you can't blame. It's not his fault.
And
Like,
you only get promoted if it works, and it worked. So like, it's not his fault. Like blame your fan base. Don't blame poor Sage, nice man, nice young athlete.
Maybe
out here
maybe
trying
if
to
you got like maybe if fans didn't spend like hours and hours online talking about Sage Northcutt instead of talking about one of the many other fighters.
Yeah, if Sage Northcutt drew the kind of attention that poor Mighty Mouse draws, we would all be happier. Just a shame.
I mean, I wouldn't be because I fucking love just how bizarre this man is.
Sage Northcutt,
He is not a real person.
he's a human. He is, like I said, he's a human Ken doll. I mean that in the nicest way possible. He's like a living action figure.
We gotta get Sage on the podcast.
A living action figure who's like...
Sage doesn't know what podcasts are. Like he's gonna think we're like doing radio.
Wasn't there a Sage Northcutt story where his Twitter account had linked or like favorited a porn site or something along those lines?
Oh my god, he's growing up.
He's going. Joel Romero approves.
Oh man.
Joel Romero would not approve.
Up until like a year or two ago, he didn't know he barely understood what the internet was.
Do you remember that time when like Joel Romero and Sage Northcutt were talking to one another on Twitter? That was the best time.
That happened?
That was the brightest timeline.
That was the last good moment MMA ever had.
You know what? We have gone downhill from that. We need like a team. Like they need to team up.
Dude, Buddy Cop. Why is this not a series on Fight Pass already?
Joel Romero and Sage Northcutt.
That's an awesome tandem.
Awesome? Yoel Romero tears the flag, and Sage Northcutt just picks it up and like tapes it back together, and like hangs it back up for him.
Oh man!
I want Yoel Romero and Sage Northcutt dressed like Sage Northcutt. Like they got to be wearing like the button-up polos and whatever. Like driving up on Michael Bisping's house, politely shit talking him when he's getting out.
Wait, Sage Northcutt wears clothes?
No shirt, even better. No shirt in the UK weather. Now we got something. No, but he lives in California. We just need them driving by to talk shit to Michael Bisping.
Oh my god! I'm looking at a picture he posted on like Twitter. Like he literally looks like a doll.
Yeah, he's a Ken doll. I'm telling you.
No, like his skin looks flat. He looks like
the picture of him, like, did you ever see what was like Valentine's Day where he took the picture with like the rose in his mouth? It's like this man's not a human being.
He's a walking filter. Like he's alive.
He's either like the world's greatest troll and just bullshitter, or he's just.
We're gonna find out. They're gonna like unzip him, and he's like a golden retriever with a.
Oh my god!
A golden retriever with like a computer pad.
Oh god, he's Mr. Peanut from BoJack Horseman. He's Mr. We still got two more fights.
We started good, and we're only getting better. We got Walt Harris to thank for that, and now Sage Northcutt.
I guess this next fight, it wasn't a whole lot to really.
I bet Sage Northcutt forgave Walt Harris for kicking Mark Godbeer in the face.
Oh, absolutely.
And he forgave this brutal ear slap kick. That this is the hardest ear slap I've ever seen.
His entire ear bounced up and down individually by itself.
Oh man, Curtis Blades, Alexei Olenek. I forgot. Curtis Blades is ranked or was ranked
12, 14, 12.
I think Olenek was a 9, something like that. Yeah, I mean, this was Olenek, just kind of winging some punches. I felt like Curtis Blades was just trying to wear him down. Like, a lot of people were questioning the takedowns, and I was like, Olenek's like 40. Blades was just trying to make him work and just get him tired.
And as long as you're not completely stupid like Victor Pesta, like you can take Olenek down. It's like, what's his name took him down? Omilanchik took him down for 3 rounds. It's like it's not impossible. It's just
he doesn't really care. Like, he wants to be on the ground.
Yeah, but I'm just saying like it's not like as soon as I think DC was talking about it, where it's like he took him like watch out when you get on the ground with him. It's like you can play on the ground with him. He's not like it's not like Damian Maia. We're talking about a 57-year-old man who
Blades just wanted to make him work. Blades came out to the Mortal Kombat theme. He knows what he's doing. He's got the stuff figured out. But yeah, they were trading some
My
shots.
favorite
Olenek-
part of the fight, by the way, is when Blades grabbed the back of Olenek's head and proceeded to just throw uppercuts.
Actually, yeah, they both were trading.
This
but...
was a fight outside of the Golden Corral at 3 a.m.
Yes.
It ended just the same.
I don't know. There's no ref in the.
Yeah, minus a ref. Like,
yeah, we're done now.
so I'm trying to remember. I think Blades took him down, and I can't remember like how he took him down. They ground and pound a little bit, and then it ends up getting back up and mid motion while Olenek is trying to get back to his feet. I don't know. I'm gonna guess and just say Blades, I guess, was trying to catch Olenek like as soon as his hands would get off the mat, so it would be like a legal. I don't know. I'm trying to make sense of why he threw that kick because I don't. I don't know. I don't know if he just had a bad lapse in judgment in that moment, but like I felt like that kick was just so unnecessary, and I mean not to downplay because I think in that second round like Blades was tagging him like he was definitely winning the fight clearly, but. That kick was just so unnecessary, and it clips Olenek's ear, but that's still a Curtis Blades kick. His ear probably hurt for whatever that was worth, but like they called it a TKO. Blades was really angry, like I think he thought he was about to get DQ'd, and they showed the replay, and like it wasn't a brutal kick. You ferociously clipped his
Tickled
ear,
his
but
ear.
You didn't. Yeah, you didn't like kick him full on the chin, so I don't know if Olenek was just looking for a way out. I don't know. That stoppage was kind of weird because I felt like they could have kept going. It was I don't know. It was weird. That whole sequence just was strange.
I'm kind of fine with the fight stopping at that point. 'cause-
Yeah. I'm not mad at it, but it was weird. I was like, I felt like they could have kept going, but they stopped it, but I'm not really mad that they stopped it because this fight was
like
just
we
kind
said
of.
before, brain damage, man. Like Olenek's an old man. He's getting the tar beat out of him. Like I want to say it was the end of the first round where Blades is literally just beating the crap out of him from like top. Or am I just making that up in my head because I don't remember how it actually played out? Like there was just a point where Blades was just like unfettered, just beating the crap out of him, and I was like, why aren't they stopping the fight?
Oh yeah, like I thought that when he dropped him originally in the first round that there were a few moments where it's like, we really need to see this, somebody's grandpa get, ruined by this very, very, very good fighter.
Like I get it. Olenek is Oplot strong or whatever.
Jesus Christ.
But come on.
I mean, there's really not much to say, and I feel bad for Curtis Blades because I think he's a really talented heavyweight. He's a guy who needs 6 months with a top flight gym, and I think you're gonna see massive improvements. Or just like he needs time away from the sport to really find. He needs either time away or consistent fights because there's so much he does well, but every fight it's like a different story with him. Like he's got something new he does good, and something new he does worse. But this fight he was gonna win. I thought that Olenek was an easier fight than Omilanchik was, stylistically, because Omilanchik can do a little more. And I didn't need to see this fight go on. Although, if you want to sign me up for 5 rounds of Blades versus Olenek, I'm more than down for that. But
And he went 3 rounds with Ngannou on his debut.
2 rounds.
No, 2 rounds.
had his moments.
But he survived.
He's another
Right.
one of those guys. AC talked about it, and I truly believe it. Heavyweight, it almost hurts to be successful right out of the gate because they get excited and then they throw you in a little too early. A guy like Curtis Blades in his developmental cycle should probably not be fighting guys like Omilanchik or Olenek. But here he is, and he's probably only going to get tougher challenges. He's Arlovsky's next whatever, or Stefan Struve. I can see them doing him and Struve. It's like it's too early. Like it's too early, but this division is so vastly malnourished in terms of new names that they get overly excited and then they just screw it all up. So I don't know. And that was not a fight ending kick. Get out of here, Olenek.
I'm just saying. I'm very excited for Curtis Blades versus Alistair Overeem.
Jesus.
because that that's coming.
If hold on, Overeem has to survive first.
I mean, I
Win
figured.
or lose, they'll just throw him in there. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, like fuck it.
Junior Albini is fighting Andrei Arlovsky. The only way after Arlovsky is like Volkov. Like they're not patient with young heavyweights who win a fight.
I think that's in part because there's like 20 dudes at
I
heavyweight.
know.
Right.
Well, that's like they signed like some of the worst the worst guy on the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series, relative to the other fighters was Alan Crowder, but he was like Dana was like, we need a heavyweight. We did this whole fucking show and didn't sign a single one, so here he comes. And you got guys like Julio Arce and Thon Lee and like really impressive finishers, and then this guy gets in because they need a heavyweight. So yeah.
Dude, like being a big man in combat sports, it's I want to say it's like a cheat ticket to success, but like Francis Ngannou was literally just a dude off the street who walked into a gym and was like, "Can you guys teach me how to do like this MMA thing?" And the guy's like, "I will pay you to come into the gym and be very big and hit things."
It's like every sport has that. It's like in basketball, if you're the tall guy who's got long arms, you're always gonna get a chance. If you're
a la Sean Bradley.
Poor Sean.
Once upon a time.
I like just if you're who's another guy who jumps out. Oh my God, he was another Maverick. What was his name?
Thabit.
Oh God, I can't remember his name. But like, who was the dude who Memphis drafted? Now we're gonna be thinking. Go ahead.
Thabit. Was it Thabit? The 7'3" dude? Oh, there we go.
Anna Jop is one of them. If you're a big, tall guy and you have long arms, you're always going to get a chance. Some team is going to take a chance on you.
So if you're listening to this, maybe if you play like college football, but you didn't make it to the league or whatever, if you're like walking around at like a healthy 240, throw on some gloves, man.
I've made the argument the UFC needs to go to the NFL Combine every year and hang around NFL training camps in August or whatever when dudes start getting cut and just be like, look, if you want to stay in sports, we'll pay for you to go to a. They do it with guys in Mexico. Guys from like Latin America. They'll send them to Jackson's or to Alliance or to AKA. Like they'll hook them up. So just hook up a bunch of big tall dudes and send them out there and just. If you take 20 guys and you get 5, that's like a good That's a good return on your investment, I think.
I mean, like it's not like there's not a precedent for this. Like Matt Mitrione and Brendan Schaub, whatever you think of them as fighters, they managed to make a career out of it.
Mitrione is no joke a good fighter. He deserves a lot of credit. And
I mean, he just be Fedor.
Look at Miocic. Miocic, if you want to be fair, was a failed college baseball player.
He was basketball, right?
Was he failed? Because I feel like he was getting offers and he just like decided not to.
He ain't playing. I didn't see him in the World Series.
I want to say that he actually did get offers to go be like in the minor leagues, and he just chose to do fighting.
Right. Well, I'm just saying, like, unsuccessful guys and other. If we're fair, combat sports and pro wrestling share a bed together. Pro wrestling, how many failed football players?
Shouts to Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I mean, was he on the same team with Matt Mitrione? I think I remember hearing that. But either way, Kevin Nash was a failed basketball player. Big Sexy was a failed basketball player. The Giant, Paul White, played basketball. It's like, if they can play another sport, they're probably athletic enough to make it in your sport.
Yeah.
I'm go out and sign some hockey guys. Steve Bose. We can always use another Steve Bose.
I'm about to say they can already fight.
Yeah, for real.
They can already throw hands, so you just got to give them some technique.
I say the same thing about like women's bantamweight. Literally, just go stock the WCWA finals and just like sign whoever looks sad coming off the mat.
Whoever looks sad. Not the winner, but whoever looks sad.
I mean, like the winner gets to go to the Olympics. Let's be real.
Jesus. All right, what fight are we still on? We're still on Olynyk Curtis Blades?
Yeah. No. We can move
hold on. I've got this. Hold on.
Oh.
Let me just handle this. Curtis Blades, I'd like to see him fight Blagoy Ivanov, who was successful on the PFL, and that was the whole PFL time that I had sat on for 3 hours. So there we go. We talked about the PFL card. You guys go out and watch it. It's on YouTube. We're not going to mention it ever again.
You can be one of the 300 people who have watched the PFL card.
And chances are, if you have some video production background, you got a job there if you want it. Did anybody on a real just a brief note? please do not listen to Kayla Harrison and Boss Rutan in the main event. They literally flirted throughout the whole main event.
Aw.
No, I mean, good for Boss. Good for Boss.
Oh,
It was
boy.
casual. It was either flirting or flirting. I don't know what else you want to call it.
Boss was trying to
Because
make
Boss
moves.
was talking about naked kicks, and she was like, they were kind of doing a little back and forth about kicks and naked kicks, and she's like, I never kick naked. And Boss was like, whoa, ho, ho, ho. Like, he was like, I'm not, and I knew it. She was actually like, all jokes aside, she made me wish that the UFC would put more women on commentary because it's like a different voice for once. So I was impressed with it. But every time her and Boss started talking, I was like, at one point, Todd Harris was like, I'm just going to keep commenting on the fight. Like, I'm not getting any of this action. I don't know. What is this?
Oh, I have to go listen
Seriously,
to this.
give it a listen. There is, like, I don't want to, I believe she's married. Boss probably doesn't give a shit. But point is, like, it was friendly, almost on the verge of being too friendly. And Todd Harris was like, I'm very uncomfortable with this. He just kept calling the fight, and Boss at one point is like, "You're gonna like what?" Like they were having their own conversation. And he's like, "I'm a professional. I'm just gonna call this fight." Like, good
on you. Good on you, Todd Harris.
Good on you. Good on you, Todd.
Somebody has to steer the ship,
Yep.
right?
Well, I mean, apparently the captain, the Dutch captain.
Oh man, but this last fight, I guess, just real quick. Ricardo Ramos and how do you say his first name? I always mess this up. It's Zahabi's first name.
Ayman?
Is it
Ayman,
Ayman?
Ayman, something like that.
We're gonna go like Ayman. We're gonna go Ayman Zahabi. Oh man, yeah. I don't remember much of this fight. Like I know I watched it, but like it was the first fight, so this is the last one that comes to memory. But I don't know. I remember Zahabi. You know, he seemed like he just kind of does the boxing thing and not a whole much else. Like I feel like there are other tools he could probably add. Like he's a solid fighter, but like I don't know. It's just something. I feel like there's something that's not there that should be, but that's neither here nor there. The end of the fight. And it's kind of bad because, like, I think Ramos, you could tell he was telegraphing the spin. Like, he was looking for it. And I can't remember if he threw one before this one. Yeah, like, he was looking for the spin. And it just, I don't know if, like, Zahabi was just so zoned in because he had him backed up against the cage. And he was just, I guess, thinking he was just going to go in for the kill. And, yeah, spinning elbow straight to the jaw and just instant death. Like there was no coming back, no need for follow up. Just yeah, it was a great way to kick off the card. Like your KOs don't get much better than that. So yeah, honestly, I don't have much to dissect about this fight because I don't remember it all that much. But that elbow was pretty vicious.
I think Ayman kind of just like has a lot of the flaws that you see in a guy who's like an MMA nativist. Like he doesn't check kicks like at all, and he gets hyper aggressive when he thinks he has the kill. But other than that, like Ramos looked good early, like leg kicks, guys back in the first round. Like you let the fight get away from him in the second a little bit, but like, really delivered on that KO. Yeah, there's not a whole lot to dissect, really.
I thought the grappling in the first round was fantastic. I thought it was a lot of really good grappling exchanges. When I got on the feet, I thought Ramos was a little too aggressive in terms of trying techniques that were not necessarily high percentage landing. Like he threw a lot of jumping knees that weren't even close.
Yeah,
he had a few spinning kicks that weren't even close. The third round, I thought I was a little worried. For him, I was a little worried because it felt like Zahabi had him figured out with uppercuts, and then throws the first spinning elbow and it landed. So I was like, oh, that landed pretty good. Like I thought he was gonna back out. Zahabi was gonna create some space, but he must have like gotten excited because he had the back or whatever the case may be, and he's trying to pound on Ramos, and then the second spinning back elbow came, and that was that. And I think we can make a case for Ricardo Ramos for being the best looking for a fight signee. like if you think about it, there are some really good ones. Like Matthew Lopez is pretty good, and Randy Brown, Sage Northcutt, Mickey Gall are bigger names. But I think that Ramos is the best one that they got out of that. However long this reality show thing is gonna last.
Probably. I'm trying to think. I guess Lopez is only competition.
Not a big Cody East fan.
No.
I see.
What is Cody East doing? Is he back in jail?
Come on now. I shouldn't have gone there. Shouldn't have gone there.
I mean, I'm thankful to Cody East for getting the crap beat out of him by Curtis Blades and Walt Harris.
Yeah.
So,
There was the Ring of Combat. They just signed like a Ring of Combat bantamweight who people are really excited about, but I can't remember his name.
hey, this is news to me.
Oh God, what's his name? Ring of Combat bantamweight. I love how I talk when I sign UFC. He just had a fight announced recently. Merab Davishvili.
Not. Oh, here we go. Oh God, it's been forever since I've been able to watch a Ring of Combat card, so I have no idea what this dude is.
I know he had a
What?
lot of hype behind him. I always get him confused with the guy who fought John Moraga and got KO'd.
Oh right, yeah.
I always
The dude
forget that
that's,
one. Confused.
Oh, he's fighting Freaky Signs.
Yeah, I know that he's the guy who there's a lot of buzz about. But yeah, I think Ricardo Ramos is
Oh, I might have to,
that dude.
all right, I might have to check him out. Yeah, yeah, probably. I don't know, like how his style works out long term. Like, it's just kind of,
Ramos's?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Keep spinning.
I mean,
Oh my god!
He'll keep his job. So,
I got it.
what?
Ricardo Ramos, Damian Stasiak,
Yes.
spinning all day, 135.
Yeah, go for it.
I think actually I would like to see Ramos Boston Salmon, but I think Boston's hurt again, so can't do that.
Give him Brian Kelleher.
Brian Keller would take that fight, and then he would fight like a week later too.
Yeah.
Kelleher was caught. Who did Kelleher call out? He was trying to get the fight with Almeida.
Which I like, by the way. I do like that fight.
Yeah, Kelleher's got some big. He's got some big dreams.
You know?
Like he's out here trying to get it, man. He's trying to strike while the iron's out.
And you know what? I always like those guys. I think that's always good to support.
And I'm not mad because, like, at least if you're gonna be that kind of guy, like, you got to be a fighter that brings it, and he definitely does. So I'm not mad.
Every
at it.
division needs one of those guys. You need those.
Yeah. He said his role model was Donald Cerrone, and he's trying to pattern like after him. So
You could do
anytime, anywhere.
Ramos, Rob Font, I guess.
Hopefully he handles his money better than Cerrone.
Well, yeah. And chooses
That's
his words
another.
a little smarter than Cerrone.
Yeah.
That's another.
Better.
But
I mean, there's bonus
Yeah.
money in Kelleher's future. Just don't go spend it all on, like, I don't know, ATVs.
Kelleher's from the Northeast. One of the Northeast has an ATV.
Hi.
Anybody.
I mean,
Oh my! I'm from the North. I'm on the Northeast.
yeah. Well, I'm here too.
Oh my God! All right, I apologize sincerely to all the people in the Northeast.
I mean, I'm mostly
Can't
just
make it.
It's mostly just like Delaware and
Can't
PA.
make. What, you gonna go live in Lancaster with the Amish? Can't make fun of. First it was the Pygmy people, and now it's New Jersey. Sorry.
yeah, everybody's got to get.
I mean,
pissed
we're used to it. Like, so we are the butt of many jokes here.
But anyway, this was a great
Ah.
card. I think we can wrap that up.
Yeah.
It was a great fight, great night of fights.
Like literally everything you could ask for: disqualifications, KOs, TKOs, people losing belts left and right, legends coming back.
There were more there were more title changes tonight than there has been all year.
Yeah, you mentioned
Right,
that, and
like
I was stunned. But then it's like at the same time, and I do want to make a point of this, like Bisping and Garbrandt. It doesn't work so much for Joanna, but Bisping and Garbrandt, I think, really prove that a champion, you have to keep that. Like, you have to fight as consistently as possible. You can't
Yeah,
take
like
a
yeah, you
year
can't
off.
take any time off.
Yeah, it's like because neither guy looks sharp, and that's like a full year of not. I don't know what it is, but it's like you take that time off, and it backfires on you.
either way, we got gonna be a lot of interesting storylines that end up forming probably in like the next couple weeks. But yeah,
USADA, be kind to
this
us.
card was. I didn't want to say it.
You gotta acknowledge it. USADA, please.
Oh man, that was my first thought when GSP was out here landing Superman punches. I was like, oh, if you John Jones me, I swear to God, don't you do it to me, George. I don't. I'm gonna be positive. I'm gonna say GSP just that Olympic training he does and all that good stuff, and Freddie Roach
Yeah,
and
like
company
not every fighter who
have just
looks good is on something.
I mean, this
Yeah.
was only like 6 months ago where GSP still had like the dad gut, like
Yeah.
the beer belly.
Hey, he lost weight quickly.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah.
so
He's eating Nutri-Grain bars and
Poutine.
something.
What else did they have up there in Montreal? Poutine.
Some vegan poutine.
I bet
don't
it
know.
exists.
But yeah, man, UFC 217, man, this card was amazing. Literally, like just amazing.
And the next,
Amazing. That's
yeah,
all.
and I mean the next pay-per-view looks really good too. So this is good. Little momentum.
I think we're gonna end this year. I feel like on some high notes. Like there'll be a lot to talk about because we got cards
Yeah.
coming up literally every
Yeah.
weekend and until like January. So
Next one's good.
but-
218 is good. And if the rumors about 219 having some kind of Cyborg Nunez like face-off is good, then we'll be all right. We'll be okay, guys.
yeah, we'll be taken care of. The MMA gods will let us end the year on a
They
good
have
note.
taketh enough this year. They need to giveth.
Right. But we're coming up on close to 3 hours. So guess we'll do parting shots and shout outs and all that good stuff. First off, I just want to throw some salt. I hate fantasy football. Just to throw that out there. I did not. Something in my gut and my soul told me to start Jared Goff because he was playing the Giants, and I didn't. And they're beating the Giants 47-10 right now as of this recording, with Jared Goff having 28 fantasy points, which I don't have. But that's neither here nor there. I was just angry about that. But I guess I just got two parting shots. First one, I can't remember when this event was, but One Championship took it back to the Pride days of having these just wild mismatch fights in terms of weight. So we got middleweight champ An Lasan, who shout outs to him. He does train out of gym in Maryland, Crazy 88. Fought Alain Galani, who is a he's like a compact Czech Congo. Like if Czech Congo was like 4 inches shorter, like that's what he would look like. So a middleweight versus a heavyweight, and An Lasan submitted him via guillotine in the first round. So shout outs to him. And the crowd, like for people who don't know, like Ang is like a superstar and like over there. He comes over in America and he's just like a regular dude. The crowd over there like went nuts when this fight was going on. So shout outs to him for pulling that off. Another thing we didn't really get to mention, be my last shout out. Shout outs and well wishes to LFA fighter CJ Hancock, who apparently like died in the cage and was brought back to life. And he said, and I quote, "Well, I died tonight in the cage. They did CPR and hit me with the EKG twice and brought me back." So that happened apparently this weekend. I missed that card, but I'll probably go back and rewatch it. But yeah, I don't know if his heart stopping. I heard he had a really hard weight cut, and doctors are telling him he probably shouldn't fight again. But yeah, hope he gets better. Hope his health is okay, because that's definitely like scary. That like you literally just you flatline, like you literally flatlined in the cage, and they had to bring you back to life. But glad to hear he's doing okay. Hopefully his road to recovery goes well. But yeah, those are my two shout outs.
Well, first off, the high note. The high note. Shout outs to Manami Toyota, who just retired this past weekend. Or yeah, arguably the greatest pro wrestler of all time.
What? Go ahead. You just keep. I'm not a Manami Toyota fan. That's why. I was like, what did you even? Now we're gonna have a real.
No, that's all I gotta say about that. Just like great career, 30 years, amazing wrestler. I really don't have much to say about that.
Many ways.
Revolutionaries, yes. What else? I want to end on a sour note. So just shout outs to Laura August. I don't know what you're doing. I think like she like kind of the archetype for like women who get into combat sports. Got into it because she wanted to learn to defend herself. She was in an abusive relationship beforehand. Like before she started her career, she skates with her daughter. Got into MMA through Tiger Showman's and was arguably the pound for pound best woman on the planet when she did fight all those years ago. Has a win over Roxanne Modafferi. I know this because, again, I've worked at Tiger Showman's for a summer where the internet only showed Tiger Showman's fights from like their fighters. So I watched a couple of the Augustus fights. So shouts to her wherever she is, I guess. So that's all. Yep.
These are always the hardest because you want to end on a good note. So I guess I'd like to just give a quick kudos to the Professional Fighters League. We all joke about it. It's really funny to kind of crack some jokes about the PFL, but
nothing I said about the PFL has ever been a joke.
No, the PFL has had a rough run under many names, under many leaders, under many visionaries. But they did something really good this week. They had an event for charity. I can't remember the charity off the top of my head. It's for children, so I
Fight Nights, I think it's called, and like their website's like Fight for Children or something.
Yeah, Fight for Children. So like they did something really nice. We know they did something really nice because, again, production snafus. They aired the silent bidding auction for like a PFL special like package. So I know that they did some really good stuff. And MMA is a very, very, very great, awful, tremendous, bad, wonderful mixed bag. And so when something really nice happens, when there's something good done, I think it's important to remember that and to put the jokes aside for just a brief second and give them their kudos. Other than that, I mean, shout out to everybody on UFC 217 who had a fantastic showing. Like there was nobody who I left that card like every fight was enjoyable in its own way, and there was nobody who was the downer on the night. So great for everybody on that card. And God, I had something else I wanted to say, but I guess it wasn't that important.
Oh, real quick, Deontay Wilder.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Shout out to
this.
Deontay Wilder for not going through on his promise to kill him.
I mean, he almost did.
Ooh, boy. I'm just saying.
That was a violent KO.
You know what? He promised death. He didn't deliver death. I appreciate him not going that far.
Oh, he was close. He was very
I'm trying
close.
to give the man a compliment here, fella. Give this guy a little credit. Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Good on him. Good on him for staying active and for taking a stand against guys who use PEDs as well. So.
I have a question for you, Joey. Are you as hyped as I am for Deontay Wilder versus Dominic Breazeale?
You know, like if I had to rank it, it would be somewhere between how excited I am for work tomorrow and somewhere between. You know what? Deontay Wilder's a fun fighter to watch. What I'm most excited about is setting my calendar for 2027 when Wilder and Joshua finally had a match. I totally thought you were gonna go in a different direction. You're gonna try to bait me into a Miguel Cotto because Cotto's fighting in December. If it was a setup.
No. I'm very upset about it too.
Yeah. Actually, I would like to do one more. Now I got one. Shout out to polite, respectful champions. I feel like they have taken a back seat in the current MMA landscape. Everybody's a fake McGregor. Everybody's a fake Rousey. It's nice to have GSP back with the belt. It's nice to have Rose Namajunas with a belt. She seems really nice. Everything I've heard about TJ Dillashaw outside of the Team Alpha Male circle is of a pretty nice guy.
Don't let Stokes hear that.
Well, if he was here,
Stokes.
if he had the professionalism to show up on time, he could have counted my point. Point is, it's nice to have it. It's always cool to have. I love confident champions, but it'll be nice to have. I am excited for this Whitaker GSP fight because it's going to be two guys who aren't going to try to sell me something I don't want to believe in. Like they're going to be nice and respectful, and then you can have two guys who talk trash and do that a little bit. But after so many really bad trash talk, after so many moments of trash talk that felt bad and had.
Colby Covington killed
That's
it.
what
for
I'm trying to say.
everybody.
Like after so many guys who just like, I was thinking about DC Jones too. Like some of the things referring to Jones as a junkie in front of his kid. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like there's always that. Let's have a few guys who are just nice dudes. And I like DC. I think DC will be different with Vulcan. So I let's just have some nice folks around.
You see, all this talk about trash talk. I just realized we forgot to mention Cody Garbrandt. One, releasing that sparring video.
Oh.
Two, releasing that sparring video because he basically admits to doing HGH.
I mentioned this. We had this discussion. That guy believes everything. Like he truly believes everything he does and says. Like, did you hear him after the fight with Dillashaw? Like after the Dillashaw fight, when he's at the podium doing his presser, and he was like so everything was nothing changed. It was like he didn't even lose. He was just like, I don't like him. I still don't like him. I don't like him as a person. He's a lying bitch. He's a snake. And it's like, dude.
He told me he's the reason I know how to do HGH.
Yeah, I love that. I know how to do it. What? But I mean, this was a weird week for you. Had that. We had yet another unacceptable F word dropping. You had Joanna's serious bullshit about mental. Well, she was given the opportunity to talk back her comments on Rose, and she did it halfway, and then she's like, but she's still crazy. So it's like, dude.
Wow.
So it'd be nice to have GSP and Robert Whitaker talk about how much they like one another. Even if it's for, variety is the spice of life. It takes all kinds. Let's have one fight where it's like
pleasant gentleman trash talk that might end in a violent fashion when they actually.
Yeah, like I don't need to be sold on the fight. You don't have to. I don't need you to fake trash talk. Like fake trash talk is the worst, dude. Do you remember when Ellenberger and Rory McDonald were gonna fight and their trash talk was just so plain Jane like?
I would never trash talk Rory McDonald because I think I would end up missing the next day.
Yeah. But just like
when I saw Rory with the turtleneck, that guy, he's not to be played with.
He looked like a Saw villain against Maz.
Like I love Lima, but man, you better watch your back, bro.
Shout out to Volkan Oezdemir, who will in fact be getting the title shot. So good for him. He came into the UFC last year, and within 1 year, he's beaten OSP, Jimmy Manuwa, Mirka Serkinov, and is now going to fight for the title. So good for him.
Get him.
I think he beats
Future
DC.
champ.
Yeah, that's my knock on the wood.
Future champ.
I think so. DC rushes into the clinch. He gets punched in the head a few times. That's it.
Another Phantom KO.
This is the dim mock, I believe it is, right?
Yeah. Oh, the dim mock. Oh, I haven't heard that in a long time.
Isn't that what it is? Like the finger, the death touch, whatever it is? I don't know.
That's what they do with like Yeah, basically what you're saying. I was going to try to describe it completely wrong, but
I haven't seen it. It's fitting because I believe that's GSP's favorite movie, and GSP. There we go. Look at that, man.
All comes full circle.
No, I'm not laughing. Yeah, the story that just I read on
You're
Twitter.
totally laughing at this, so how dare you?
No.
That's even worse. You're reading while we're having this amazing
I-
discussion.
Some breaking news. God, what's this man's name? I can't remember off the top of my head. Johnny Benjamin Jr. Do you remember Johnny Benjamin Jr.?
I do not. You're gonna have to.
I do not.
Okay. Wait. Yes, he used to write for MMA Junkie, and he was
yeah.
and he was the man who came out and said women should not be fighting 5-minute rounds because it's too dangerous.
Oh God, I'm reading this now.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
He is not.
What did he do?
He is he was arrested on federal drug charges and now possibly facing life in jail.
Jesus Christ. I
Well,
believe he's the same guy who once referred to DC as the token guy on the no, not DC, Kurt Menefee, when they were doing the Fox sit down the Fox booths, he called him like the token guy on the booth, so I was like,
well, sir. Hope you got legal fees. Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Life happens fast.
what a very strange night. Strange day.
Yeah. It wouldn't be an MMA weekend if madness didn't happen. Chaos is essential. But yeah, we just gave you guys a solid 3 hours. So yeah, you better listen.
Good damn.
Yeah, man. Oh, real quick, one last plug, and then I promise
Here
I'll
we
shut
go.
up. I forgot that I actually set up an email for this podcast. So, if you would ever want to just email a viewer question, maybe we'll read them on the show.
Oh yeah, that would be fun. I say
the email
knowing that I
is-
probably won't be on that show.
But in case, it's email is simple, Dojotalkpodcast@yahoo.com. So I don't know if you got a viewer question, MMA related, movie related, anything, whatever's on your mind. Don't do nothing too crazy though. I might just ignore you.
I can't
But,
wait till
you know.
we have live call-ins.
No.
Nah, I don't want to. Yeah, I got to screen everything. I just can't let you people call in. I love you guys to death, but there's always that one person who's gonna ruin it for everybody else. But DojoTalkPodcast@yahoo.com. If you got a viewer question, you can send it there. Podcast is always on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, all that good stuff. There'll definitely be content because we got cards every week for the rest of the year. So there won't be a lack of things to talk
And
about.
we too are looking for a digital distribution deal. So Amazon, Netflix, if you want to get this, you don't want to pay UFC, you don't want to pay the UFC rights, and you just want recaps for half of it.
Right. We got you.
I'm willing to take half of what the UFC is willing to take.
I think that's fair. We deliver more action than maybe some of
Right.
these cards.
And I feel like if you're a prelim fighter, we'll talk about you. We don't just
Yeah,
cover
if you
main
want to
card.
get
If you're on the
sponsored, if you want
prelims,
us to talk nothing but you, we'll hit us up.
we're here.
Second to last dude on the Fight Pass prelims.
we should start.
Right.
Eventually, we're just gonna start sponsoring regional fighters.
I don't think I got enough money to lose, to be honest with you.
Those dudes will do it for $10. Come on.
I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll reach out to somebody.
Junior Albini wasn't getting paid, and he had 15
Yeah.
fights.
Jeez, good gravy. You got a point
Oh
now.
man.
Yeah, if you're a fighter out there,
We got you,
well, if
man.
you're willing to do
We
it on
got you.
good word.
I will give a fighter $50 if they were a Dojo Talk podcast pass on their short third fight night.
But if it falls
Man,
off,
I will make.
if it falls off, you got to recoup the money.
Well, if it falls off, we'll give you 100 because then somebody will bring it up and it will be like a thing.
You can't make it obvious,
Right.
but you got to pick it up and hold it to the camera and be like, it fell.
Exactly.
It fell right off.
Oh man, yeah, we have to get a fighter on the show. One of you guys are gonna get reeled in. We're getting somebody out
Come
there.
and call us up.
I'm sending Sage Northcutt an email.
Oh my!
We're
What
getting
is Sage
Sage on.
Northcutt going to talk to us about?
We'll figure it out.
So you guys heard of Jesus?
We could talk to Sage Northcutt about 12 Years a Slave.
Oh yeah, he should have a lot.
Man, I don't know about this. I don't know, fellas. I don't know if we want to go down that road.
Have you seen his? Have you seen his? Um. Have you seen what Woodley had to say when he watched it?
Oh yeah, he's like, that's so messed up. Why did we do this?
Oh man.
Katy, Texas's education system probably does not
I would
involve
imagine no.
slavery.
We need to get
Yeah, they
Sage
skipped some
Northcutt.
years.
What if we
They
get
skipped a big
okay,
chunk.
I got an idea. We can get Sage Northcutt on. Once upon a time, there was a short-lived wrestling organization, like for 5 episodes, called the Urban Wrestling Federation.
Oh my God.
So what if we can get Sage Northcutt on and he'll review an episode of it with us? I think that set the best.
That'd be a myth.
The ideas are swirling.
He could watch Belly
I
with
know.
us, right?
Oh man. Sage Northcutt and movie
I think
reviews.
we found what we really need to be doing.
Oh man.
That
Yeah, we got to
episode
do
with
this.
Sage Northcutt.
Juice, Boys in the
Guys, there's
Hood,
Friday.
so much violence.
CB4, How High?
I just want Northcutt at one point to be like, have they ever thought about talking out these problems? Guys, it doesn't have to be this way.
Oh man. Oh man.
I bet Sage Northcutt's mystery doesn't have to be this way. We don't have to do this.
If anybody knows Sage Northcutt out there, tag him. Tell him.
I'm sure he's got a lot of time in his schedule.
Yeah, tell him come on the show, man. We would love to pick his
Sage
brain.
Northcutt
And...
fights next week, and these 2 guys will be here. I don't know if I'll be here. Stokes is banned for a week, so we don't know if he'll be back. So we're gonna figure it out. We'll see who's here to deal with. We'll review Sage Northcutt, and then we'll have him review a movie.
Yeah.
What's
happening?
Showgirls. He could do Showgirls. That
Oh
would be-
my God. That might break his brain.
My mom gonna be
Oh,
okay
man.
with this?
So many possibilities. But yeah, it's been
Rambo. One of those Saw movies.
Sage and Scarface.
Oh no, he'd be like, no. I just don't all that salt.
This has been another episode of the Dojo Talk Podcast. Anytime people are being kicked and or punched in the face, we'll be there to talk about it. And hopefully we catch you guys soon. Peace.